Welcome everybody to day 2 of LCQ here at VCT Game Changers APAC. Mika Fabs here, this time with Black and Blue. We're happy to have you back here, Black and Blue.
Well, thanks for having me back. We kind of had Fluffy sit in my place yesterday, but don't worry, I'm all good this time around. Looking at the games though, Mika, I think we've had some pretty big, surprises yesterday when I was out.
I think so. I think nobody expected yesterday to go the way it was supposed to go. Nobody expected those aces to come in so soon here at LCQ, and definitely nobody expected that 13-0. So I think that we're in for more surprises as we are usually here at Game Changers. But before that, we are going to take a look, of course, at our roadmap here. What exactly are these teams fighting for at the very end? And I think after 3 opens, this all culminates here to this last chance qualifier to go before Elite, and then Champions at the very end of it all. As I mentioned to Fluffy yesterday, Black and Blue, this is a fitting end to the 2023 season that is VCT.
I mean, for sure, and the whole point of this LCQ, right, is to be able to see these teams, find out about teams, and witness teams that we haven't really seen throughout the other stages. And you're getting some teams here that have never really made to the playoffs, some teams that maybe have been ending their runs on the the Swiss stage, but now, as we look at the roadmap, we're actually going to get to see, like, the progression of where things have come.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I love about events like these. At the very end, you get to see just how much these teams have developed, right? You get to see, teams that maybe at the very, at the very beginning, when Open 1, you think that, okay, maybe they need a little bit of work. You get to see all of that work culminate here. Especially for these teams in particular, I know that we have a couple of teams here that have been just at the cusp of making it through these, opens. So I think it's going to be very fitting indeed to see them. I mean, I think we already have seen some of the powerhouses come out with yesterday's matches. Are you favoring any teams here, Black and Blue?
I mean, what really surprised me, especially yesterday, is looking at that game between NEONS and Deviant Topaz, because Deviant Topaz were, last time around, during the previous Open, one of the more impressive new teams that we had coming to the Open 3. And then NEONS, a team that has never made it to the playoff stage, has never even made it to the groups, has only been stuck in that Swiss stage. They're the ones to beat Deviant Topaz 2-0. And for an achievement like that, for a team of relatively unknowns, that's a big statement to make coming out of here.
Definitely. I mean, I think with these teams, I just have to say you kind of hope for Nana and Friends and Nick's Josie to make it, just because it could be so adorable to see those logos all coming out on Elite. But only 2 will make it out of the LCQ alongside, and they will make it to Elite alongside some of the other teams that have qualified, like RQ Kaguya, like Full Sense Sapphire, and Team SMG, of course. We also have Arantan X, Scythe, and WJ, and Global Esports Phoenix. In case you guys were wondering where they are, of course, this is just the last chance. This is the last chance qualifiers for some of these teams. And I think that, of course, you do have the prize pool as well, right? The prize pool of 10,000 US dollars. And of course, the chance to complete an Elite and just being one step closer to Champions at the end of it all, which will be held in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And I think this will take place, if I'm not mistaken, November 28th to December 4th. I think.
Well, I mean, there's at least some kind of leeway here to kind of grind themselves up, right, and get ready for that. But the end goal for this most immediate future is to make it into that top 2. There's only 2 slots left remaining from LCQ coming into Elite. We already have the 6, right, locked in, as you saw there, with, I think, Global being the 6th seed. But you got your 7th and 8th team that we're going to find out who that will be at the end of this LCQ, and that's really a big thing to watch out for. You got some of the teams here already. We're looking at the bracket who has, as we talked about, surprised us. Yes, Neon being one of them, but you look at NYX here, Knicks, they're also another team that they came out of the woodwork just as a relative unknown, Knicks Kosai, and they made quick work of Nana and Friends, and you have to wonder, like, it's just maybe one of our next potential 6 seeds.
Maybe. I mean, you can't really tell, right? I mean, of course, as you mentioned, we did have teams suddenly become a powerhouse yesterday, which were teams that we never expected would be. And as I mentioned to Fluffy yesterday, I think it's also because you have these not only these great teams, but also these players that become these X factors for these teams, right? And by the way, if you guys want to check out the second stream, they are we do have I think we have we have a pretty stacked talent lineup over there as well. We have Rap, we have Tash, and Vic and Quack, I do believe, on our second stream. So do say hi to them as well. It is twitch.tv/FSL. And
yeah,
I don't know. I personally don't mind if you switch, back and forth between these two streams.
If I wasn't working today, I'd watch that stream just for the sole fact that Vic is casting, not hosting. No. Casting.
Oh yes,
in this case, so.
It's Caster Vic. It's Caster Vic this time around.
The best Vic. You guys had two Vics yesterday, but today.
Oh yeah, we had Vic and we had a Vic. So never too many. Never too many here.
Lots to go around. Nothing to be worried about.
For today, I would. Is it something to worry about? I don't know. To be continued. But for today's schedule, we do have the Hero KDA versus Neons, followed by Deviant Topaz versus Bot, which will be our first elimination match on this stream. So very exciting stuff indeed. And I think that, I am definitely looking forward to our first match here, especially since we've heard, we have seen and heard, of course, a lot about the Hero KDA. They seem to be the favorites coming into the entire LCQ, actually. But Neons had quite an explosive debut for the LCQ yesterday. So how will they face up to this team that seems to be, the one that everybody is afraid of?
Well, the Hero KDA, they come into this LCQ as one of the only other teams, aside from a team like Deviant Topaz, that we've seen actual full experience as a core, as a whole, as a unit, coming from that open 3. And with that expectations on your shoulders, you have to wonder. We always expect the unexpected here. We've always seen, maybe whoever the favorite is, they're the one who's going to be toppled down. And if I'm looking at how, especially the way Neons played yesterday, if they can replicate a lot of that success against a team like the Hero KDA, they might shoot to the top of that ranking.
Oh yeah, I think that yesterday Neons came so prepared. They were just so ready against Deviant Topaz, right? They read them like a literal book, right? But I think that on the side of the Hero KDA, you have players like Snowkey, for example, and she is such a powerhouse, right? And so Neons are gonna have to try and put a stopper to her. So I'm really looking at, for example, players like Yoki and Felsi, who had such a great series yesterday to be able to slow her down. Perhaps maybe Yamro to meet her head to head. But right now, these ladies seem to be the closest to the LCQ throne right now, and it seems to be that they have like a unique buff on going for them, as Quack so kindly shared with us today. Hannah mentioned that before the series started against Bot, you had Olulu apparently was singing Super Shy, and her lobby mic was on the entire time, and everybody heard her singing it. So there seems to be that K-pop buff is very popular, by the way, with a lot of VCT teams. So it seems like Hero KDA leaning into that.
Maybe that's part of the, the psychological game, trying to psych out the opposition, like, oh, these gals, they don't care, they're having a happy-go-lucky kind of preparation, while the opposing side might not be. You look at players like Hannah here, who have been spectacular in delivering in the previous game versus Bot. Olulu as well, who was such a big piece of the puzzle, being on that initiator, always helping players like Snowkey get into the fray. But you look at Neons, and if we actually look at these two teams, it's not the first time that these two teams have sparred up against each other, and the last time that they did meet each other in the Swiss stage of this LCQ, it was definitely Yabrol who was really delivering for this team and helping them to stretch it to map 3.
Yeah, definitely. I think with how everybody's been building up, even fellow teams and other players have been building up the Hero KDA. The fact that Neons were able to bring it 2-1, I think says a lot, especially since I think that is why I'm looking forward to this matchup the most today, because these seem to be two very high energy, high explosive teams. Neons yesterday, we saw them after their match win. They barely broke a sweat. They were very confident. They were, smiling and singing and dancing, and it doesn't even seem like they were challenged just yet. I do think that they will be challenged today.
Well, I mean, how can't you just be happy-go-lucky with a 2-0 win in your debut performance, really, in a, what do you guess I call it, in the top 8? Because they've never really made it this far. They'd always get capped at the Swiss stage, but now in LCQ, when their final shot is right in front of them, that's when they seem to hit their stride, and it might be the perfect time for them to hit that honeymoon phase.
Yeah, and not to mention that there are 2 slots, by the way, that go over to elite. So it if you're not the first, you could still gun for the second, but of course you do want the lion's share of that prize pool as well, right? Hero KDA just seems like they're just steps closer, and Neons much like their namesake are looking to rush right in front of them and possibly beat them to that throne, right? So it's gonna be interesting too, because these teams do have history, as you mentioned, right? And it wasn't too long ago too. So I wonder, in that short span of time, what could they possibly pull out? What else can they bring out here for these teams? We have seen rematches as well from yesterday, and on the side, for example, of Deviant Topaz, it did exactly pan out. So it it begs the question: was there enough time to actually switch around the playbook, or did you show the Hero KDA way too much of your strategy?
Yeah, like, will their veto, for one, will that switch up from the last time that they played each other? Because during the Swift stage, bind became kind of a big problem here for Neons to convert in that matchup versus the Hero KDA 4-13. Not the best scoreline, so maybe they might prioritize taking that out, but who knows? But they might have something else up in store planned here, and that's the beauty of this, because we get to see kind of like the precursor of that coming into the big stage here. That's where we'll get to kind of compare both performances and see if the Neons have really, I guess, evolved from the last outing that we've seen of them against the Hero KDA, against a team that is touted to be one of the favorites to win this whole thing.
I think it's also so amazing, by the way, that the Hero KDA, I mean, you have half of the team, I think, that is either, I believe, working or are possibly in school, right? So you have half of this roster actually, still going on with life as as it is, and then competing in VCT Game Changers as well. That's really amazing, and quite
like,
a testament to them.
It's like you're saying these gals ain't even trying. Like, if you're struggling, why are you struggling? I'm a student. I'm still working. And so,
I mean, you could put that stress into like Game Changers, right? You're like, oh, okay, I did this at work and stuff. Okay, let me compete. Let me get into Pearl and unleash it here, which is where we're going first here on our maps. Looks like it's slightly different from what we saw last time, except for that we are going to be seeing Fracture potentially once again. But Pearl and Haven, this is new for these two teams.
Curious that this is the way that the veto goes. Now, Fracture is a map that we did see. They're won out by the Hero KDA, but it still makes sense for Neon to leave that on open, because it felt like there could have been something else different that they could have done. It's Lotus that does get removed, which is the one map that Neons were able to win the last time around. Haven remains, rather Pearl remains here as our opener, and if you look at the veto, at least statistically, for a map like Pearl in the past, it's been a big 50-50 here for a team like Neons, and it's been, so far, a complete success for the Hero KDA. Small sample size, yes, but they've been spectacular and perfect on this map, so I really have to say that this veto, I think it might bode their way. The only one big linchpin here is the fact that if you look at that Haven, it's been a liability for the Hero KDA in the past, and that is where, especially looking at the 70% win rate that Neon's got, that is where they can maybe equalize this up. So if they go 1-1, Fracture could be anybody's game.
Well, I guess that's what Neons are banking on, right? That's probably why they picked that as well, playing into the weaknesses of the Hero KDA. Not much, but especially like since we've seen a lot of their play style and their strategies here in Game Changers all throughout the entire season, right? Neons, as you mentioned, they are a relatively new team, so I think it's gonna be a challenge for them, trying to get that teamwork in as well, especially since you have last chance qualifier. It's so high pressure, it is so intense. Yes, this is the upper bracket. They aren't quite in the lower bracket just yet, but still, you want to be able to get that favorable slot. You want to stay in the upper bracket just so that you have a little bit more time, a little bit more slack when you get there at the very end. And I think that right now, getting into Pearl, what kind of agents are we expecting here? What do you think we're seeing from these two teams here, Black and Blue?
I don't think we're going to see too much of a change up from the Hero KDA composition-wise, because they're the ones who have been more successful on the map like Pearl, so they don't really have much reason to change up. And then you also look at the comps that either side play. For Neons, you like to play that KO. for the Hero KDA, and you like to play that breach, and typically in that matchup, it's a breach that has the advantage over the KO because they can affect the fight without being in the range of the suppress, and that gives the team with the breach more advantage. So if I am Neons here, I might be looking to potentially change the composition up, maybe swap on over that KO to something like a breach as well, or maybe even add something like a Sky to their composition because they already have the recon off of the Sova, and maybe that flash will just help them out just a bit.
I think that, one thing that Fluffy and I were also like, looking forward to the most, or like really praying the teams would lean into, is definitely utilizing the Jet, just because we aren't gonna see her a lot. Everybody's forecasting, everybody's foreshadowing that we won't be seeing Jet for a long while.
Like,
so we are
might as well use her while you can, right?
I know, because we're gonna say goodbye, and even Ben Affleck is mad that Jet is nerfed.
He's a KO main, apparently.
He is a KO main. I would think, because I think his son mentioned that he was like a Jet main, so it makes sense that the dad is there to set up the son.
I would have thought maybe something like an Omen, because I'm Batman and edgy.
That might be a little bit too given, or too obvious.
Too on the nose, maybe.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's just me.
Too familiar, I guess. But yeah, I think coming here into Pearl, we do know that Neons, they do lean into that Jet, so expecting some good plays here. Use that double up draft while you can, ladies. On the other side though, that big question is for the Hero KDA, if they're gonna bring that out or if they're gonna favor the Raze as they usually do. I do think that the composition that they bring out here with the Breach and the Fade, as you mentioned, Black and Blue, is really interesting. And we're also seeing that once again that that Killjoy showdown that we have here, both teams tend to lock her in.
Yeah, and especially you talked about the Raze in the first place, right? And with the accompaniment of a Fade that sees the stun as well, the Gravity Well. Speaking of the Gravity Well, that's something that's also going to be nerfed coming to the next patch, but there's a lot more synergies here that they can really utilize, wherein if you look at kind of the composition of Neons in general, it's a lot more about enabling individual things to happen. You got the KO who can pop flash himself out, you got the Jet who can make that space on her own, but it comes down to having less, agent ability kind of synergies that the opposing side of the Hero KDA might have, and that could be a big problem, especially in a map like Pearl here, where a lot of times you're going to be telegraphing your push to come, because that B long, you're going to know the hit is coming, and if that allows a team like the Hero KDA on the defense to set up their traps, then once it springs, I'm not too sure if the Neons have necessarily faced an opponent like these gals.
Now, I do believe that this is the map pick of the Hero KDA, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. But it has been a while since we've actually seen them on this map, at least. Like, we haven't seen them for quite a few months. That could work both ways. It could be either that they probably have a strategy that nobody else has seen in the past few months, or it could be that they might be out of shape. Maybe they haven't played Pearl in such a long while in this kind of high pressure environment.
Well, I mean, there's also been kind of a big you talked about the gap here that we haven't really seen too much of, and if you look at Neons as well, I don't think that they're necessarily going to be too phased about what happened the last time around. You also have to wonder if maybe the Neons, after that win from yesterday, when they beat Nana and Friends, maybe that gave them kind of like a very different breath and aura of confidence coming into this series, and momentum is a big thing. We see teams kind of struggle early in the tournament when you'd assume the competition isn't as deep, but then later in the tournament ramp it up, and this could be one of those things here for Neons, just as we know the agent might be. If they get a full head of steam ahead here, if they're able to especially explode out early in map number 1, that's when they can start to, I guess, overthrow this.
By the way, Neons, they do have a bit of a lucky charm on their side, I feel like, because Yoki has made it to Elite twice now. So that means she hasn't missed an Elite just yet. Her team has made it to Elite in 2021 and then in 2022. So I would think it's a little bit of foreshadowing. Perhaps she wants to complete that streak and add 2023 in there as well, and then finally, make it two champions. Who knows, right? But I feel like that experience, as well, or like that grid that Yoki has, is an X factor as well that Neons can play into.
Well, maybe we do have another X factor here, is looking at how, even though the previous stats might kind of turn one way, we haven't really seen this specific iteration as of late play here on Pearl, and unknowns are both a curse and a blessing, because yes, it might also be that the opposing side doesn't know what you're going to do, but you've also never really field tested your own plans, and that could really face a big problem moving forward against a team like NEONS, who, as a core here, have played this map. We're gonna go finally, I think, into the agent select soon, and that's where we're gonna have all our questions answered.
That is right. So here we go. We are heading into Pearl, the first map of the day between NEONS and the hero KDA. So right now, we do have a surprise over there. I am excited to see this Reyna on Snowkey, though.
Okay, it's very interesting. Gecko plus that Sky as a double innie, single smoke, and a single duelist as a Reyna. This is very unorthodox. A lot of times you'd see a Reyna be kind of like a secondary duelist, maybe behind a Raze or a Jet, or Phoenix even. But in this case, they have that, the Reyna be the solo duelist, and one has to wonder, how will they create that space now? They have lots of ways to maybe kind of blindside the opposition right here. They have that Gecko, they have, with the Dizzy, they have the Guiding Light, they have the Leer, many things to shoot out, many pieces of utility to be aware of for NEONS in the defense, but will that necessarily translate into adequate enough execute that will allow them to get the spike down?
Yeah, this is gonna be so interesting. I mean, like, on the side of NEONS, I believe no surprises here, and they're going with a pretty standard composition. But the hero KDA, it seems like that break from Pearl has did them well, or has made them very, very creative. So we're gonna see just how creative these two teams will be as we throw it on over to our casters to get into Pearl.
Turn on the lights, put on the capes. It's day 2 of LCQ, and I'm so excited for this matchup, Zach, because it's looking absolutely incredible. Hero KDA on one side, NEONS on the other. What do you think about this one?
I definitely think that this is a match that is going to be an absolute banger. However, I agree with our panel here. It does seem like, at least looking at it statistically, it does seem like the hero KDA, they have quite a few cards really like working out for them. NEONS, though, they've gotten incrementally better over time from that open one that we've seen. Even though they weren't able to really make it to that playoff stage, this time around they managed to do so. And that first game yesterday, if that's any testament to what they are capable of, it should be a good game.
I'm actually going for a different outlook from what we've seen from the panel so far. Thinking about the map trap that we have here, I'd say that NEONS might have a bit of a say in the whole run of these 3 maps that they're once taking off Pine to go for Fracture, the fact that we're getting Pearl first where they dominated Deviant Topaz, and you look back at the history of Hero KDA in this iteration of this roster with the Filipino core in from Open 2. They have never played Pearl on a tournament setup. Most of their games were back when they had the Indonesian players instead. So it's such a wild card right now Hero KDA is bringing out here, Zach, and will it be a make or break moment given the fact that this is their map pick?
I mean, they are running, it is their map pick. They are running a composition that, while it seems a little bit unorthodox, the thing about unorthodox compositions is that there's usually a large game plan that follows it. So I'm very interested to see how they're going to be using both the Reyna and the Gecko. The Reyna in particular, I think it could be a make or break agent. Snowkey, of course, had a couple of pop-off games over the course of this event, and we saw her being an absolute force of nature yesterday as well. She's going to have to continue that, though, because she is that sole duelist, like our panel mentioned. So a lot of pressure on her shoulders here.
The only one in the front line, right? And it's a Reyna, so she needs to get a kill just to find value with the orbs. The Leers, perhaps, to allow the entry. A little bit helpful Lulu moving on forward. But we begin now the upper bracket. We go with NEONS versus the Hero KDA. And I just want to say, I love to see the overlay back. Seems like everything is ready for an incredible game. Iceling on the lurk. It's Coyote, though, the power position. We've seen her ace from here before.
Yeah, this just brings back some PTSD, at least if you were watching the Deviant Topaz versus Neon's game yesterday. But so far, at least the hero KDA, they're going a little bit slowly. Ice Link kind of on alert position here, just waiting for a possible mistake, while the rest of the team they're grouped up towards this mid area. Alarmbot gonna give away the position of Snowkey, who just pushes forward. Ooh, that's a dink.
Yeah, I think sure still has HP and a single kill can top her up if ever. Now then Snowkey with the takedown. Here comes the Devar as well, getting back into cover, cuts the connection, but the hero KDA have already gotten the introductory kills that they need. Coyote isolated and found by Olulu. Hano on the board as well. And the hero KDA already making a good case for themselves. Such a strong push towards B.
So systematic and oh no, the lurk as well.
So hard, and what can Yamroll really do? She popped off before. It's not gonna happen this time as Hannah gets 3 here, Zach. And the hero KDA, they're our first seed for a reason, and they're looking pretty overwhelming already just to set the pace of the game.
Yeah, you can understand why this team had a flawless group stage when you look at things like this. If you look at that execute, right? They take their time, they go for those feelers. Snowkey, of course, gets that opener, but even before that, the rest of the pieces, they were in position for that perfect push. And in particular, that's the advantage of running a Gecko on a map like this. You don't really have to put yourself on danger to go onto that B side and get the plant down. You could just, you know, send out your cute little wingman, little bro will plant the spike for you, and there you go. You can just play post plant after that.
You know, I really feel like it fits Hannah very well as well. The fact that she can just throw the wingman out, right? To put that spike down, and she can just frag out from that point on. If I remember correctly from yesterday on the second stream of FSL, she got 2 aces in her series for Hero KDA. She's really one of the powerhouse players that the Hero KDA has. And for now, there will be a contention towards main if so possible. Olulu gets 1, Yamroll fights back, sure. But a Snowkey does find Felcha along the way. It's the Hero KDA on the hunt. The Snowkey there pushed this without the Leer. For the timing, gets the flick on and the takedown. It's the hero KDA now just going around here, Zach. They had A in their grasp, but now they're gonna double back and realize, oh, we can go back to that site.
Both the players, though, from NEONS, they've already rotated over here, Dax, towards that back side. And while they only have classics, we've seen the damage that these particular weapons can do, especially with the turret being out. That's going to be the information that the team is hitting this A side once again.
Yeah, we've seen the impact already from NEONS, but now Hannah will just shut everything down. 2 players to watch out for in this game. On one side for NEONS, Yamroll, you see how sharp she can be just with a pistol. On the other hand, Hannah has the thrash ready. So quick with the ultimate and so quick with the flicks.
Third round thrash ready to go. All right, Hannah has been getting aces today, farming 3Ks today. Just a matter, of course, for her pretty much. But like you mentioned, that's an ultimate that could be a major factor. Now Hero KDA, they did lose a couple of guns, but all things considered, it does seem like they're fully investing into this particular one. Strawberry Bagel gonna be being able to get a bundle online as well. And for NEONS, it's their full buy. No ultimates really to work with, although Yamroll might be able to get that Cosmic Divide with a couple of kills, so that might make the retake a little bit easier. Again, though, just the pace coming out of the Hero KDA, right? They're just so meticulous and patient.
Yeah, there's just trendsetters and really the pace setters of every single map that they've played so far in LCQ. We now hear the thrash though into play. Felcha in trouble, will be detained. Hands up, also a second victim along the way.
Oh,
and the
no.
Hero KDA just read the opposition well. They realize the push towards main, even the Gecko utility more so. But Yoki gets her sightlines back. Snowkey now with the trade. There's the mosh pit into play as well. And as the Hero KDA have made their way towards the site, Wingman gets the job done. She's gonna go for the plant, and now Snowkey has the angle. Ready for Snowkey. KitKat fights back, but remember, the Hero KDA are on a bonus, and they're just dominating so far here, Zach. So difficult now for KitKat. Puts down the turret, and the Hero KDA. So many angles to work with. One on the flank, one towards Arts, and another by main. She needs to deal with these players one by one. The Hero KDA not giving her a chance whatsoever. Hannah with the final kill, and it's 3-0 now.
That's the advantage of running a double initiator comp as well. Like we saw in the beginning of that previous round, you just have so much information, so much utility available. The flash catches them, keeps them from running away, and the thrash does the rest of the job, setting them up as easy pickings. After that, when you lose 2 players just like that, your side just looks so much more weaker, and there was just no chance of Neon to be able to really hold on to it. 3-0 now, and we're gonna see a pretty early timeout coming in, despite the fact that this round is gonna be an eco most likely. Neons, they want to plan ahead.
No, I like this a lot from Neons because I look back at their matchup between these two teams in the Swiss stage, and one big reason why Hero KDA took that bind map for their first map in their set was because of heavy momentum. They had a perfect half on bind there, 12-0, only answered later on by Neons, and it seems like already Neons is seeing that unfold in front of him. That sense of deja vu
PTSD.
just stopped that train, right? PTSD indeed. And you don't want to be shell-shocked here, Zach, and Neons. There is potential with Yamro, with Coyote. You know those players can pop off at a moment's notice.
Oh, for sure. They definitely do have experienced individuals. The problem just seems to be, like we talked about the Hero KDA, they seem to have been playing together for quite a long time. They've been very consistent, almost making it through every single open to that playoff stage. So I think that their team that barely missed out on qualifying for Elite through points. So definitely one of the favorites heading into this LCQ. Very, very methodical, very, very strategic when it comes to execution and stuff. And Neons, they're just starting out when it comes to that kind of thing. Sure, they have the individual talent, they have the aim, but strategy-wise, they're still a little bit lagging behind comparatively. Although KitKat, that's a huge opener.
Well, if you want aim, you get it here towards mid. KitKat, yes, with the kill, but the scrappiness will end as the Hero KDA finds a semblance of control. And truly, you mentioned it, Zach, the Hero KDA, they're favorites for a reason, not just because of their standing from the Swiss stage, but also minimum top them every single time for the Open qualifiers. Made it to the top 8 of Open 2 with a 3rd place even. And as Yoki finds Snoki, then might be the chance here for Neons. At least now, they will have a few guns to pick up. The Hero KDA, though, planting towards B instead.
So this post plan, they don't really have much to work with apart from utility, no ultimates available, but positioning wise at least, Hannah's taking a very aggressive angle. She doesn't really have anything to do in that post plan, so just trying to buy as much time as possible, as now they look to regroup.
Yes. Strawberry Bagel waiting now. It's Belcher though finding Hannah, and you can see already for Neons, this might be the momentum they need to answer back the opposition. Strawberry Bagel though ready yet again. KitKat will fall, still holding towards Pillar here, and Bagel just swinging around left and right. Bobbing and weaving, Yoki though answering back. Yoki ready for another set of contact, looking to play protector, but Bagel gets them all! An ace here on the 4th round, and the Hero KDA keep the train going.
Very, very good round coming out of both the teams, but Bagel towards the end, just a precise show. In that 2v4, they managed 2v4, they managed to almost perfectly make that post plan work out. Exactly what you would expect to see from your Astra and Killjoy players, but just the isolation, the way that Bagel managed to get those fights one by one and make sure that they were firmly 1v1s in her favor. Very, very well done. And that's going to set Neon up with a lot of snowball potential here in these ultimates. Neons, they still have the Cosmic Divide available, one off of the Null command. And for the Hero KDA, only that Reyna ult, that Empress.
See if Snoki can actually utilize that. A heartbreaker for Neons, but all in all, it was already a decent eco. Perhaps here with the guns. They can fight back, keeping tabs towards Art. The turret immediately broken. You know, watching what Yamro can do. She's very efficient at setting the pace. No matter what agent she's playing. On the Astra, though, always has to be ready for any kind of angle across the map. We see for the Hero KDA, they regroup towards mid and look to find an opening here.
Very slow, very quiet. Kind of a stack coming in from Neons towards his A and Art area. That's the push that you've seen most of these rounds coming out of the Hero KDA, and that seems to be the expectation as well. Alarmbot giving away the position towards Door here, maybe trying to trigger a rotate, but the bait isn't being taken by Neons, and they're still kind of stacked around this area. Contact finally coming in.
And that could be close, but Iceling finds Yamro. Yoki's there, sure, but Iceling gets another one, and now it's the opening that Hero KDA needs. Over at Dugout, there's still one for Neons, trying to go for the hold. Belche, it's such a struggle, but she gets the wall back going onto Hannah. A good pick. Is it going to be enough? Momentum now swinging in her favor, and Neons makes it 2v2. Felcher survives for now. Gets perhaps an angle here to work with, as Alulu will try to top up Bagel. They're pushing though towards Flower. Time is running on out. Felch is still in the same position. And she's just waiting there for the opportunity. Coyote though on the prowl, ready to hunt. Felcher with another one. It's a big pick onto the Spike Bearer. And Strawberry Bagel pushes the limit and pushes the opponent. 5-0 as Bagel does it again.
Another clutch from Strawberry Bagel coming out for the Hero KDA, and That was an excellent round overall. The realization they were about to rotate to B, and then they were like, wait a minute, we only have 50 seconds. Let's just try to go here. And impeccable trades coming out towards the end. A huge effort out of Felja, really good utility usage and wallbang damage, but at the end of it, unfortunately for NEONS, it's going to be the hero KDA still making it out. Once again, putting them in that unfortunate economic situation of not just being able to afford anything. However, we did see that they could hit quite a few nutty shots off the back of those sheriffs. Combined with those ultimates, it might be enough for them to garner a drift.
I mean, I just gotta say though, the last minute decisions made by the hero KDA, they're finding a bit of weakness on the Neon side. That sure, Neons can get a few of those picks, but when it matters most, they're the ones who find some more, I'd say, successful duel and the successful timing there. Daigle so brave in the last 2 rounds. It's just a good indicator of how synergized the hero KDA is, just because they're willing to do those kind of plays anyway, given the situation.
For sure. Even if it comes ticking down to that wire, they're just very clean with what they want to do. Really good decision making, like we've talked about. But also, they're very aware. The fact that Strawberry Bagel knew that Felcher had come back into that corner, into dugout, instead of just going into CT to be able to chase her down and get that final kill, keeps the momentum going here as now the hero for the execute.
Now Felcher though able to hide away from the Dizzy. Beautiful dart as well. Wingman now on the expedition. The Moshpit is there too, and Felcher has to disengage. Still has the Hunter's Fury though. The lockdown being utilized here by the hero KDA. Get an answer from Neons. Not yet, actually. They're gonna wait out the timer, save the ultimate for another round. Eco State anyway, holding towards connector now. This is now their go signal, but Icelings on the lurk, waiting for the timing. We hear the null command, so Neons will commit 2 ultimates along the way. So the call to push, the call to fight is here from Neons. Does it pan out? So far, so good. They get 2. Coyote on the defuse, and Neons will get away with it. Who needs to fight when you can just stick that defuse going? 1 round now for the defense.
This is a much better trajectory.
The hero KDA, they got the plants, but when you have that Cosmic Divide, you just have to be sure that there's a backup plan here, and I don't think they expected Neon to just go in and stake that spike. No utility available either from Iceling, as she was on that flank, unfortunately. So Neons, they get a freebie there. Very well planned and played. Sure, they committed 2 ultimates, but they still have 3 left to go, and that's going to put their economy in a little bit of a better spot as well. However, for the hero KDA, once again, they do have a couple of ults of their own. The Thrash in particular, that's what I have my eyes on. Last time, Hannah found outstanding success being able to detain 2. Maybe we'll see a repeat of that.
Yeah, I mean, Hannah has been getting so much value with her utility just to open up these sites. I'm still wondering, though, from that last round, was that calculated from Felche and the rest of Neons? Not use the Hunter's Fury, go for the surprise instead. And they did catch out hero KDA, rotating even more so towards mid, so the timing was perfect for the defense. Despite that, now a standoff here as A main's held by the hero KDA. 3 still waiting for the opportunity. Spike looking to regroup with them as well here.
Oh yeah! Monster on
Looking
the
for
loose.
that Thrash. Get it from Hannah. Already the Cosmic Divide into play as well. Snowkey can't get the shot before the wall forms. And it's Felcher waiting on the opposite end. Bolt broken though. Can't get the intel, but knows now someone is on site. Yamro with the pull. Iceling will get that spike down. And while this happens, behind them, there's the flank, and Strawberry Bagel is able to net the kill. We hear though the Hunter's Fury, but Lulu will push the limit. And yet again, the hero KDA advance forward. They already have the picture tap, and they're looking to go for more. Yamro though with a fight back here. She gets one, but that's all she can get. And as KitKat's all alone now, spotted by Bagel and stuffed by her as well. Another one here for hero KDA.
6-1, really extending that lead as much as they can push it, Dax. And the thing is that they are so well planned out when it comes to these executes. Even when the situation gets scrappy, right? They're able to make these split-second decisions that favor them, but more often than not, you don't see them in that position in the first place because they're just so meticulous as to how they go for these executes. They play time to perfection, and also the aggression that they show afterwards as well. Some rounds they do it, some rounds they don't. It just seems like Neons is never ready for it when it does happen. For example, during CT, you saw like a couple of fights being taken, and the Hero KDA, they're able to win out their engagements almost 100% of the time.
Yeah, and you look at Bagel, right? Sometimes you just feel, oh, she can't lose this. She'll get away with it. And we saw it towards Art. We saw her just be such a threat. And Neons, they have the firepower to do so, to fight back. They have that skill, but it's just not really showing up right now compared to their series against Deviant yesterday. Coyote onto the corner, hit by Dizzy, and down she goes. Alulu with a kill. This is the Hero KDA barreling their way towards B.
I think that was an Astra concussion, Dizzy, Arena Flash, everything was being thrown at Lulu there. Unfortunately, a little bit, Coyote, a little bit too much for her to deal with. KitKat does have that lockdown available for the retake, but it might still be difficult with where the spike is planted because they can just play from long now.
Yeah, KitKat, sure, she has the lockdown and she has the hero rifle, but the heroes are set there for the Hero KDA until Snowkey falls. So Yoki, that's exactly what they need. Here we go again, though. Strawberry Bagel on the prowl. She's ready again for another opportunity. Pop Flash is there, but Yoki's caught. Yamroll on the board, but Strawberry Bagel is ready here. Another sweet victory for her and done by her. 3 in the round and 7 now here for the Hero KDA.
That's the most high-impact lurk we've seen in this game so far. And we've seen a lot of really good lurks, but that one takes the cake here. They expected the lockdown. They got themselves in position for it. You can see how fast Strawberry Bagel really makes that flank coming through, knowing that she wasn't going to be expected at all, and gets all 3 of the remaining players for her troubles here. That was a little bit of an investment coming out of the Hero KDA, but all things considered, they're going to be very happy with how that round panned out. In particular, I think the usage of the Seekers by Olulu was inspired to make sure that the players on site had enough time to really get out safely. And now once again, you're going to see this pivot towards this A side, this early aggression here out of Neons.
Yeah, Neons, they just want to play advanced now just to at least try and find a few trades earlier on. Because they're getting caught so often by Strawberry Bagel, by the main push from either side of the map. And as the Trailblazer will go for the scout. Snowkey though plays the anti-flash well. Yoki will fall Coyote with a trade, and eventually it will be 3v3 after everything's said and done. A 2-for-2 trade, and Neons will disengage.
Silence again, though this fight towards mid, that's going to be huge here as Iceland goes down. One less lurker to worry about here for the Hero KDA. For Neon, sorry. Now 2v3, they finally have the numbers advantage in one of these rounds, and the 2 remaining players for the Hero KDA, they're going to be trying to stick together to try and make this work out. Strawberry Bagel won off the lockdown, and that might be the out to really try and change things around. They look to go towards this A site instead, but there's still a couple of players from Neons hanging around their docks.
Yeah, I love it. Coyote and Yamroll, we mentioned them from yesterday's performance. Can they show up in this round? As Neons, they have the advantage, as you mentioned. It's been a bit rare in this half so far. And on the plan, and Coyote distracted by it. Can't break it in time, though. And the Hero KDA make it post-plant instead. Sticking around, though, still by Link. Watching out from Connector. A bit of utility to utilize from Strawberry Bagel. They know they're coming in from CT, and as Neons now go for deep. Yamroll will take the front line. Hannah with a trade, though, and that's her versus the world. But Coyote will just defuse anyway, trusting KitKat to get the job done. And Neons, in the same kind of way they won Zach, another stick in the face of adversity.
Very, very nice rounds, and of course, just the trust that your teammate will be having that angle and be able to defend it. Neons, they have the numbers advantage, they maintain it, and they take the round off the back of it. That was a really, really nice kill coming out of KitKat to be able to catch Iceling on the lurk and just take her down, removing smokes as well from the equation. But overall, I think throughout this game, what has impressed me most is just how efficient Wingman has been. The entire time, Little Bro just goes and plants the spike no matter what's being tossed at him. He's like the real MVP right now for the Hero KDA.
No fears, actually. He doesn't care.
No
fear. If you try to shoot him, if there's going to be utility, Wingman gets the job done. That's one delivery service I will always enjoy. But here we go yet again towards B. But Yamroll holding towards Halls. Low HP now. KitKat also. A bit of recovery here from Neons. They are trying to watch from the top side. And KitKat does get a few kills along the way. Snowkey, though, leads with the answer.
You
Goes
should
for the
run.
dismiss instead of the Devar. Thought there was going to be a bit more contact. Now she only has 25 HP.
Turret's destroyed.
Spike is down, sure. The lockdown is there, though, courtesy of Bagel. And she's going to look to hold versus Club, but Coyote will dance on her grave instead. As it's Snowkey In a 1v3, very difficult here, but she can get the kill.
you,
Maybe
Zed.
that's her chance. Still suppressed though along the way. Can't go for the heal in time. Now she gets it here. And in the 1v2, isolates the fight. 3 for Snooki. And oh, Felche will deny her for that fourth. But is it enough time? Seems like it is. Neons will get another round.
Almost a 1v3 to come out of Snooki. Really showing off the versatility of that Reyna. That first dismiss, the second devour, but in the end, could have played a little bit more for time. Goes for the peak, feeling it with all the confidence in the world, but Felcher just gets that final punish. But this hold on site was very, very nice coming out of Neons to be able to play that bait and switch kind of tactic, get those 2 initial kills, and of course this flank as well. I think they expected for that lockdown to be a piece of that puzzle, and they were kind of ready for it to come into play. Very, very nicely done. The crunch coming out of Neon's side to be able to take that round. 3-7, looking a little bit more better, but their economy is still in a bit of a rough spot.
And because of that, they're just gonna go for the push anyway. A triple stack towards main. We've seen this multiple times from Neons. Olulu though scouting out the situation. The mosh pit versus the flash. Neither side can push. And as Bagel wants to go for the commit, here comes Wingman as well. And the Hero KDA, they're gonna push it because of the Gecko utility. Hannah on the board, but 2 are down already for the attackers. Snowkey looking to go for the chase. Coyote spotted towards backside, and now she's isolated by the Cosmic Divide. The pulse is there too. Stunned up, and good night, sweet princess. Coyote falls. It's Snowkey on the board, and the plant goes down here for Hero KDA.
2v3, still very doable.
Oh,
But
the
Snow
push.
looking for a little bit more, pushing out. The judge catches her just in time.
The fade away with the judge. Gets back in cover, gets the kill, and now it will be Hannah though. Finding one towards Secrets. The Hero KDA still with the advantage. That extra advance, just those extra steps that the Hero KDA takes, it lets them lead to another round win.
Last round in the half.
I think that when you do have that numbers advantage, you can let one of your players just kind of go fishing. Sure, it didn't work out the way you expected. The judge a little bit too much to deal with, but that does get the other 2 a little bit more space to work around to set themselves up for success with, and that's exactly what we saw. Now in this final round, the economy for Neon looking pretty much devastated. You see a couple of marshals, 1 vandal for Felcher, but apart from that, just a sheriff in the hands of Yoki. They do have the Cosmic Divide though, so we might see a little bit of a redo of the first round that they won, where they just try to stick the spike, unless the Hero KDA are very careful about it.
Yeah, the main plan for Neons right now is shh, quiet. Perhaps we can get that spike DPs if ever. But KitKat and Yamro!
Spike
Who needs
down B.
operators in this game when the marshals can matter just like that? 2 down already as Neons were on a lesser buy. But now they have the superior numbers for the round. Snooki though moving towards the screen. KitKat, she's strong towards the top side. Looks for the flick, can't hit the shot. Yamro still sticking on the round, and this should be Neons realizing a commit is coming, and Yamro does it again. Bagel though finding KitKat. Perhaps Olulu can get up close and personal enough to actually beat the Astra. Here comes Olulu, tagged down by the Marshal though. 49 HP left. The Hunter's Fury seeking for that kill, can't find it so far. It's getting tense yet again. Hero KDA though ready for the scrap. And Strawberry Bagel always reliable. While this happens though, Zach, look at where Olulu is at in the map. She's going for the flank. Perhaps even bring that spike elsewhere. But as of right now, it's Bagel moving away, and it will be the 8
30
take
seconds
instead.
left.
Yeah, they just walk away in absolute silence. Bagel has created enough of an impression.
They're like,
that-
I'm done. We're moving. Next
Yeah,
site.
no, we want nothing to do with that. See you later. Have a nice life. They get that A side for free as well, and quite a bit of re-clearing that Neons will have to do on this particular retake, especially with the Killjoy utility
10
available.
seconds left.
With the clock having run down,
Spike
that's gonna be their cue to rotate and try to retake on this A site instead. But look at this crossfire, Dax. It's gonna be so difficult.
Yeah, the confirmation is there. A few rifles to work with here also for Neons. But will it be enough to steal this round away? Hero KDA in position. Bagel setting up the turret watch from Link as well. But the double stack towards Secret, giving them cover so far. The dart is there too. The Hero KDA moving out away from the site. And as that turret is broken, they realize the spike plant's over onto the corner. Nano Swarm popped already.
Last
Flappers
20
to
remaining.
cover that defuse, but Felcher will fall as well as Coyote. The Hero KDA make it 9-3 here, Zach.
Switching sides.
9-3. Incredible lead on their map pick. Let's see what our panel has to say though as we head into halftime.
Can I just say how annoying the utility is coming out from the hero KDA? It's like, you know, you have so many flashes, you have so many stuns, and then you have all of the gecko creatures coming at you. It's really annoying. It must be so frustrating on the side of Neons.
It almost seems suffocating, like suddenly a tidal wave utility comes your way and then boom, they fly away and there's nothing you can do about it. But we're seeing a good fight kind of being put up here by Neons near the end of the half. Unfortunately, could not get that kind of thrifty round going their way, but I think the fact that they were able to stand and kind of reel it back just a bit before ending this half and then 9-3, who knows, maybe you're superstitious enough for this to work their way.
Oh, I thought we debunked that curse already. I
No,
thought
not yet.
I thought not yet. Well, who knows?
No.
But you know, I feel like that last round was kind of like, you know, it kind of exemplified like how passively Neons have been playing. It's a stark contrast to how they were yesterday, right? They were really controlling the pace. They were waiting for, you know, their opponents to really make mistakes, and they're really just, you know, playing with them like a cat does a mouse. But now it's the other way around. They are so passive, and you know, the hero KDA can just take advantage of that and just really, you know, rotate around the map and play to their advantage. And you know, as we saw in that last map, they had so much time to make that rotation.
Well, they also had the benefit of playing on the attacking side, right, where that hard hit coming from the Dizzy with the Leer and everything else in between, that's where it's going to be effective. But now on the defensive side, will that still remain true? Will they be able to anchor down as adequately as we saw on their attack?
That is a good question. We're gonna find out as the sides switch around, and we're gonna pass it back to Dax and Zach.
Thank you so much there to the panel. Looking great yet again. I have to say though, Zach, honestly, with the 9-3 standing that we have here, I don't feel like it's the best indicator of the game so far. Yes, it has been the hero KDA in control of this half, but Neons have brought the fight to them round per round. The only problem, the last minute decisions and the last minute positions. When it comes to the clutch, it's where hero KDA steal those rounds away.
Yeah, I mean, I've lost track of how many clutches that we've seen. We saw the ace coming up from Strawberry Bagel, Hannah as well with the 3K, and in particular, like our panel talked about, I think the most oppressive thing about the hero KDA so far isn't just their aim, it's their utility. There's just so much of it constantly being thrown in the faces of these Neon players. But hey, that's a side switch coming in. It's gonna be Neon on the ones on attack right now, so they're gonna be the ones possibly throwing in some utility. They're going for a very quick, very aggressive execute onto this site.
And Neons, one thing they relied on yesterday versus Dita and Topaz was the KO of Yoki, finding suppressed value. Icing though playing keep away, and well done as she finds Coyote to begin this round. So hero KDA already with the advantage. Neons though will go for the plant, commit this set, and the hero KDA with the angles to work with from close and far. Felcha though finding Hannah. Icing still sticking on around 3 bullets left. Icing does get the kill on the Kit Kat, but eventually Felcha will push that angle, and it will be Neons with the man advantage. Can Snowkey even up the odds though? Realizing that Link is looking a little bit dangerous. Yoki still sticking around towards Hall. Snowkey now knows that she's just close. Alulu with a tap trying to bring attention away, but Yoki's ready. Alulu now versus the world. It's a 1v2. The crossfire is set as well. And as Yamro plays patiently, it's Yoki who finds the timing. 3 for her and a round here for Neons.
Very, very nice. They didn't let that initial disadvantage, their Coyote going down right off the bat, to really put them into too much trouble. The quick adaptation to get that spike down and go for a push as well, which it just seems like these guys were the hero KDA weren't expecting exactly, really puts things in their favor. And them winning that pistol, it's gonna really help narrow that gap, a full investment into this anti-eco. And now they are very likely to look at a 5-9 scoreline, which honestly, it's not bad. They're very, very close to making that comeback if they can just keep this momentum up.
I mean, Neons, that's pretty much what they need to do here. Answer momentum with their own momentum. Find the clutch in them, because they've had some good plays even in the first half despite the scoreline. And with the KO, with the Sova, they're gonna get a lot of intel if the hero KDA do become stubborn onto the site. It's a different kind of traction this time around though, Zach. The train will go for the flank instead. All 5 members playing and pulling up towards club. And as Yoki's here, watching ramp, realize situation, fragment there to buy time, bring damage over, and Yoki gets one, finds a second. It's her versus many as Iceling does find KitKat along the way. Takes cover towards Pillar though, flash at the ready. NEONS knows exactly where the hero KDA are, and as we get the flash ongoing, Iceling still into cover. It's very close here from contact for the side of hero KDA, but no, they're denied still by NEONS. 3 for Yoki yet again, 1 away from the null command as we move to the next round.
I like how both of these rounds so far we're seeing like a third round ult coming in. First the Thrash, now it's gonna be the null command most likely out of Yoki here, but overall good awareness coming out of the Neon side. The hero KDA, they went for the stack, they were lucky in their gamble, they go for a quick flank around, but that turret being smoked off, the fact that they were able to come back in time to get that information and just be ready to fight off the back of it, very nice read coming out of Neons and definitely setting them up for success here. Again, though, a heavy stack towards his B side, A side, despite the presence of the Killjoy utility and them having the weaponry.
They have at least something to work with. That's the hero KDA to put the stack towards A. We hear now the null command as the orbs give it to Yoki. The dash though doesn't work out for Coyote. Snowkey's there for the close contact, and Bagel has the Odin in hand. Lets it rip, and Yoki is forced to kneel there onto the ground. Well, to suppress, finding a bit of value at the start, but in the end, it's the suppressing fire of the Odin that will keep tabs over NEONS.
For a second, I thought it was gonna be Timmy the turret to take down poor Yoki. just forced to watch her device come at her in her face. And the problem with this B side is that there's still Iceling hanging around here. Gets the information, puts down a little bit of delay utility thanks to smoke here. But Neons, they still know that they have to force the issue on the side with this numbers at disadvantage. They have to be able to take this fight onto Iceling though in a favorable way. Shockdart doing quite a bit of damage.
Kit with the shock dart, but Iceling doesn't care. KitKat though pushes still. 9 HP left, and there's no chance this time around. Hero KDA recover with the rifles and the Odin too.
It's just such a depressing feeling. Like, you know, you go into a site, you're about to walk in, and suddenly there's just a storm of bullets absolutely being sprayed at you. Strawberry Bagel was already on 17 kills before that round started, and now she's cementing her hierarchy at the top of the table. Like, don't take my MVP away from me, don't take my top frag away from me, don't you dare. So already a very difficult player to deal with all her utility and everything, even with the KO, now the Odin as well. So Strawberry Bagel is just like, you know what, you want to shut down my utility, you want to take away Timmy from me, that's fine, but you can't take away my Odin. Look at this.
You cannot. She's again in position to lay down the law, and KitKat might be the victim. Luckily for KitKat though, doesn't overstep those boundaries. Gets away from the double doors, but Zach was already waiting for someone to die to the Odin Storm.
I like how she just jumps away. She hears the Odin and she just goes be hopping away. No, not today. But she goes again. No.
Bagel. Oh no, it's a different victim, perhaps. Oh, the gravity well wasn't in time, but Strawberry Bagel is putting such a big presence on the map just by her Odin alone. Hanado might be able to use this chance as a distraction. Loki found out by Yoki already. The suppress is there. They know the Gecko's still sticking around, but Hannah's stubborn here. She wants to fight despite the flash, and Yamro will punish her hubris there. Neon's now with a chance. They have the rifles in hand. They are looking to go for the side. KitKat though, watching connector, expecting Bagel to come that way. Already Olulu with the push. This might be good timing here for her. The spike is planted though. Many targets of opportunity, and Olulu will get another one for her troubles. It's 3v3 now, but Coyote whips a lot, but eventually finds the recovery. It's Iceling now versus the world. What else can she do? Nose one's over to the corner. Coyote will fall first and foremost. The Nano Swarm into play though, keeping her at bay. The wall, and Yamroll ready on the other side. Neons now, that's what we want to see. Many angles of opportunity used up there.
Yeah, they were very quick to punish the Euro KDA for a little bit of their aggression. Similar to what we saw coming out of their own side. They expected that push towards A main, clear out Snowkey quite effectively, and Hannah, she pays the price for sticking around a little bit more longer, overstaying her welcome. So that will be a very needed round coming in for Neons. Not only does it get them, it breaks the momentum for the Hero KDA, it gets them some of their own, but it also destroys the economy. You do see the buy coming out of the Hero KDA. One Spectre on the Lulu, everybody else playing with either some kind of pistol or a Marshall. We have seen the damage these weapons can do, of course, no doubt about it, but it's just a very difficult round for the Hero KDA. And this is a team that thrives on momentum. So when you take it away from them, yeah.
Well, Yambrol's the one doing just that. You mentioned it, Zach, as Yambrol will have to go for contact versus Iceling. Marshall doesn't find the shot. But to the point we're seeing here, Neon's one of the best thing they do as a team, from what we've seen so far, especially in their series yesterday, is the way that they're so strong at punishing the opposition. Anyone who's too overeager, anyone who's trying to play angles that Neons can sniff out with a double initiator. You're seeing them do so much wonders with a double intel, especially that it's really hard for the Hero KDA to find their footing in the most literal sense. Where can they position safely? Yoki though wanting to go for the push as Coyote will disengage. Neons hold a lot of the rotation towards B. The question is, do they commit onto it? The lockdown is there. Help them out, and well, not like that, Olulu. Not just one, but way too many. Felcha as well, ready for another target. And third time, well, it will get the kill, but it's not the charm that the Hero KDA wants. This is a site to be taken by Neons. A 4v1. Strawberry Bagel, way too difficult now to try and win this.
Yeah, just a sheriff in hand here, just smoke coming in as well. Neons, they're taking no chances. They know that if you give a team like the Hero KDA an inch, they'll be happy to take a mile here. And just Strawberry Bagel trying to do whatever damage that she can possibly pull off here. Spike planted for long as well, and the post plants, they're just giving them no chances.
Yeah, Neons, they should have this one in the bag. Especially though that the way that they're stacking up together, protecting one another, and Yamro also heating up to the level of play we saw from yesterday. 7-10 from a 9-3 halftime. It's looking likely here for Neons to find a way to tie up the score.
And this is the Hero KDA's map pick as well, if you think about it. This is a map that they usually feel very confident on. Historically, they've done quite well, and that's probably going to be the timeout coming in because 7-10 is just too close a scoreline for comfort here. This attack side having switched over, Neons, they look a little bit more comfortable on it. In particular, Yoki has been phenomenal over the course of this half. Her flashes, her suppression, all of it, it's gotten a lot of information and value for the team. And Neons, it's very impressive that they're able to maintain the 7-10 scoreline after the side swap, especially with their duelist not quite having the kind of score that you've come to expect from her after the Swiss stage and yesterday, because Coyote, she's been quiet on the server so far. And despite that, it's 7-10.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, players like Yoki stepping up, Felcha as well, and of course the usual suspect that we have here on Yamroll. But it goes back to that kind of question, right? That why would the Hero KDA pick this map, knowing the fact that most of their history this year is with a different core in terms of the players themselves. Neons, on the other hand, they showed up versus DB Topaz. They had such a recent stellar victory on this map alone. So you can see that they're willing to still play it. They're confident to fight on Pearl. That despite that 9-3, they're bringing it up bit by bit. The guns are out though, and Bagel's back with the Odin here.
In the same position as well to boot, a little bit more even map distribution coming out of the defense as they really want to put some pressure towards this mid side. Instead, they spot out KitKat, do so much damage, and already look at the push out.
Already that mid take, but KitKat still gets one for her troubles. Problem is now here for Neons. They're gonna look to regroup towards A main, and the Hero KDA will also do the same. Purple staff now getting ready for an upcoming push. No lurks here from Neons. It's everyone committed from the same angle. Fragment though being heard. Bagel still sticking around towards dugout. And look, he's already got the raid. Stays away from the corner. Seekers into play, and Bagel Lulu just lets those bullets fly. The Hero KDA, they're prepared, but Coyote wakes up when she's needed the most. It's 1v1 now. We've seen Neons falter before in these situations. Do they find the step up from Coyote here and now? Iceling sticking around though towards Flower. Spike's picked up, and perhaps for now, a little bit of a reprieve as Coyote will look to double back if
30
ever.
seconds left.
In fact, a full rotation coming in towards that B side. Iceling hasn't been spotted yet though, so Coyote really has no idea of where this player is. I think that was initially supposed to be a clear towards the flank, but
This is a long rotate, Zach.
there might not be time.
I'm not too sure about this.
10
I think
seconds
she
left.
might barely make it. I'm
Oh
optimistic.
my God, she
5.
makes it.
Oh, she makes it to the corner.
She has time to put down a smoke as well.
Second despair. This is why they're the pro players. Come on, calculated there by Coyote. I doubted a little bit, but in the end, I do believe Neon's now putting themselves in a situation to survive. It's still 1v1, and you mentioned a while ago, Iceling hasn't been spotted as of yet. Coyote has no intel whatsoever from where she's coming from. But CT now the position, moving towards the site. Iceling slowly crawling, and Coyote doesn't want to expose her position as well. Sticking around by Pillar, and the Star being set on up, and then running out, and Coyote's on the hunt! She's navigated her way, and she'll clutch it out in the end. Well done here for Neons!
You know how we were talking about how she wasn't showing him as much as she usually does? I think she heard us, Dax, or well, she heard me. I'm sorry, Coyote. That round is all you needed to do, and that brings Neons to 8 here. 2 round deficit, and a very likely possibility of them being able to narrow that gap, because once again, it is eco time for the Hero KDA.
Yeah, come on, no doubt that Neons is a stellar team, but perhaps now, after a round like that, even they're feeling confident that they can make this comeback work. Hero KDA, few Spectres, or rather a few Stingers and a Spectre to work with. They also tried to put presence towards A main, but an immediate suppress, courtesy of Yoki. We see how valuable it is to run that KO here for Neons. They're just stopping the Hero KDA from playing proactive.
Proactive, it's been the watchword so far at the very least, but this time around, the Hero KDA, they're taking a little bit of a gamble here, looking to get aggressive in fact, but Coyote there for the punish along with Yoki. 2 for them now, and this eco round, it was already a bad start for them, but with 2 other players going down like that, it's gonna be even more difficult right now, even with the lockdown, even with the Gecko utility. Just numbers-wise, weapons-wise, there's so much for them to really contend with.
And another suppress, another way in. The Cloud Burst is there, and a dash forward by Coyote. Hannah doesn't care. Willing still, but she gets 2 down, 3 overall. Just a spray down to find 2 lined up. And from that point
Spike
on,
planted.
it's Iceling all alone. Spikes planted, this should be Neons to take. And come on, Zach, we're seeing now that the Hero KDA, they're playing into the hands of Neons. And it's Neons finding value again and again with their utility this time around.
Yeah, on this defensive side, the Hero KDA, a lot of these rounds, they've been extremely aggressive, so it's been very easy for Neons to get the punish on them, and once that numbers advantage is in their favor, Neons, they just play it to perfection. They look just a little bit disjointed here. So many of these rounds, the confusion that's being kind of sowed by Neons, their players, and the positions that they're holding, it's just a little bit too much for the Hero KDA to predict and deal with. And as they lose that momentum, right, we've talked about this before, they're a team that thrives on momentum, but in its lack, it seems like there's a little bit of that opposite effect. They're kind of losing their morale here, and at 9 to 10, they're going to have to really reassess how to keep this going forward, because they need 3 more rounds, but their opponent only needs 4. So this game suddenly went from overwhelmingly in their favor to neck and neck.
Yeah, man, if you live by the streak, you can also die by the streak. And as of right now, it's Neons who's blitzing away from this half alone. Only a single round taken by the Hero KDA so far compared to the 6 Neons has had.
And that was like a full buy versus bonus situation as well. So...
Yeah. I mean, it was the Odin, right? It was that Odin last time around. Maybe this time, says Strawberry Bagel, as he's ready yet again to bring it out. But the Cosmic Divide could be into play. Lear's gonna be there though. Smoke providing a bit of cover actually. This Iceling wants to try and go for a rat position towards the corner. Here now. It's gonna be that Nelson back. Coyote though through the smoke. Iceling can't even fight back. Hannah though with the trade. Hero KDA still sticking around on the side. But this is gonna be ill timing here. And immediately action is afoot. Snowkey with 2. It's Bagel on the board as well. It works out better for Hero KDA. Neons didn't expect for that wall to drop at that time.
Just took a little bit too much time to get that spike down. And with that Cosmic Divide going down, just impossible to get it done at all with the aggressive position that the Hero KDA are holding. Now a 1v3. The alert expected. Look at where Snowkey's playing.
Ready for this, but Yamroll is a better shot. Bagel though, an immediate trade, ready at another station. And now it's a 9 to 11 scoreline here, Zach. Just so unfortunate for Neons. The one putting down that spike was just like, oh, I guess I am dead here today.
Yeah, I mean, it's a verdict that can be pretty much backed up when you have the Hero KDA just crowding around you like sharks seeking out blood in the water. That entire round, there was just so much pressure. You know, usually when you see that Cosmic Divide come in, you expect, yeah, you run in, you get the spike down, you but go back towards long, throw down a couple of mollies, play post plan, chill. You gotta get the spike down. And the Hero KDA, they were just like, nope, not happening today.
Yeah, it's a struggle here. A sense of doubt there from Neon's creeping to affect them in their decisions for that round. As the Hero KDA, they still love to imply that presence. And even though we've said so far that there are rounds where perhaps Hero KDA playing a bit too risky in terms of aggression, it's that conditioning, right, Zap? And when NEONS is expecting it more so, it did really punish them in that last round. A contesto towards doors, KitKat spots one. But beyond that, they haven't really decided where they're going to go as of yet.
Very patient, and that's the thing, right? They had the momentum going, but that round loss, it suddenly put things in perspective for them. They can't really afford to lose any more rounds here. 9-11, it's kind of manageable. 9-12, it's a little bit depressing, and they're just trying to feel things out. They know they usually expect, for example, the Killjoy to be towards this A side, so they prefer to play it more towards mid and B and isolate once again that points of contact. Only a Bulldog in hand, actually. Not gonna be able to find anything with the Bull.
Here, KDA have the stall to begin the round with. The gravity well there, slow things down. We heard the thrash as well, but in the end, NEONS have pivoted to playing towards the pillar instead. So they're moving towards B. And watch out for Bagel yet again as she's going for that high ground. Lear to play, and it will be Snowkey to try and read that charge to prevent that spike from being planted. Hannah does so immediately. Snowkey on the board as well. We see the lockdown into play. The Hunter's Fury is going to be there, and in the medley of ultimates, it's just the Hero KDA netting the kills. It's Hannah time here as she goes for the heroic plays. Strawberry Bagel wraps it up neatly, and it's a match point situation for Hero KDA.
The Hero KDA just, they hedged their bets. When that clock hit 30 seconds, they knew that the execute was coming B. They just put that lockdown and they didn't even wait for the spike to go down. And that just creates an additional layer of pressure here. You have to plant in the open. Otherwise, if you plant in the corner, you're just gonna see it diffuse under your face. There's just so much difficulty in just getting onto site at all, especially with the quick rotations coming out of the Hero KDA. And just like that, NEONS, they've been looking very confident so far in the rounds, and where they were confident, where they were quick to adapt, they were able to win. But with that clock running down and that lockdown being available, just a little bit too much for them to chew in that particular round. And now they're kind of staring at that match point here. 12-9, one round needed for the Hero KDA. But remember, this is the Hero KDA's map pick, and NEONS, they have theirs coming up next, so it's not entirely over. The map isn't over by itself anyway. They only need 3 more rounds for an overtime, and they still have the economy. They still have that lockdown of their own, and they could charge up that Cosmic Divide for a further round as well.
I mean, you look at that third map also, we're getting fractured there at the very end. It was NEONS who effectively dictated where we were gonna go near the tail end of the map pool by banning out Bind. So even if they lose this, it's not the biggest problem in the world. They can still recover. But we've seen so far the same problems that we had in the first half, Zap. The decision-making near the tail end. With NEONS running out of time, they were running out of options. It's the Hero KDA instead who dictates what happens in those rounds.
Get out of my way! Blinded.
They're definitely dictating the pace of the game for sure here. NEONS in the beginning, they were able to kind of take control of that themselves, but after these losses in a row, they're once again struggling just a little bit. Again, going for a bit of a default setup, going for a fishing expedition towards mid and A. And again, towards A, look at this heavy presence. When you have 2 players just being able to hold towards B by themselves, you can sort of concentrate your utility and players on this A side, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Well, Coyote has the blades in hand, and that can help her out in this push. The flash, though, not popped, not going to provide intel. Instead, it's the Hero KDA. Needs to keep tabs, 2 angles at the same time. The split, though, not working out for NEONS so far. Coyote will fall first and foremost, and Bagel yet again with the Odin in hand. Look at them erase the opposition. It's the Hero KDA who takes the first map.
Just domination coming out once again towards the end. They were dominating in the beginning, they were dominating in those last few rounds. Unfortunately for NEONS, even though they put out that good fight, even though they were able to make that comeback and make this match close, they are going to be not able to close it out. But again, this is the Hero KDA's map pick, and the fact that they were able to make it so close and competitive, it bodes well for the rest of the series here before we head on to Haven. But in particular, particular for Pearl, I think that the player that impressed me the most towards either side would have to be Strawberry Bagel. Her positioning throughout, her Odin plays, I mean, the less said about that the better, but let's just say they were very clean. And of course, utility usage wise, absolute control coming out on both sides.
I mean, if it wasn't the lurk right, it was the Odin. In the end, though, it's Hero KDA defending their map pick and taking it. We'll throw it down, though, to the panel to break down that first.
I gotta say, props to Neons for managing to gain some momentum in that second half, but the win definitely goes to the Hero KDA. Gotta love those Odin plays. They're not annoying at all.
I'm about to break down because it was such a heartbreaker of a loss, Mika. After coming back, we talked about the 93, and then they win the consequent rounds after the pistol, and then you're kind of wondering, this could really be a comeback story for the Neon squad, but unfortunately they kind of run out of steam near the end, and the adjustments made on the defensive side here were adequate enough here coming from the Hero KDA to stop a bit of that momentum, but it was really looking like a turnaround here coming from Neons.
Definitely, and you know, it was like it was because of that lead that the Hero KDA had, right? Because they weren't playing with so much pressure. But for that second half, the momentum was definitely on the side of Neons, and I just feel so bad, like you mentioned, that that the Hero KDA managed to get away with it. But I mean, it just goes to show, right? You know, you can't fail with like good positioning and the Odin in hand. Yeah, not annoying at all, definitely not. But I think on the side of the Hero KDA, I do agree with Zach. Strawberry Bagel definitely impressed me quite a lot. There were so many instances in this map where her lurks were just on point and just managed to swing so many rounds in favor of the Hero KDA, especially in the first half.
I mean, with a name like that, how can you not really be impressed with the way that she was able to deliver every single sweet, delicate round and moment coming here from Strawberry Bagel? I love Bagels too, but I love their play even better in ACS of 3-3-2 at the end of things here, and that's not to talk about even the entirety as a whole of other players like Hannah, as players like Snowkey, who we typically have our sights upon when it comes to a team like the Hero, but Strawberry Bagel finally coming up big when we really haven't seen these type of performances too often from her, but she's seemingly finding her groove here, at least early on in the tournament, much akin to what we saw from their last matchup, and this is a really nice part to see from the Hero KDA, where you have other different players kind of standing up. But you look at Yamro on the other side, she did her best many rounds, especially during that kind of bonus round, rather anti-eco round that they were able to throw out the Thrifty, and unfortunately enough, it wasn't enough for them to close out map number 1.
I also love the barrage of utility coming from the Hero KDA. It was just annoying with a chef's kiss, and it just seems like Neons didn't know how to reply to any of the utility that was being thrown their way. And unfortunately, for Neons, of course, they we do know that these players, they are star players indeed. We do know what Coyote, Yamro, we do know what they're capable of. But unfortunately, it was just like the Hero KDA. They just came prepared on this map. They came prepared on Pearl, and that momentum just in the first half was just really such a it just really makes just the second half just so much easier. And Strawberry Bagel, can we just moment of appreciation for her? Apparently she's a med student. She is a med student who competes in VCT Game Changers. Med student by day, VCT Game Changer by night. It's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Saving lives in real life and taking lives on the server, it seems, here for Strawberry Bagel. But yeah, you talked about the early lead, the big lead they're able to start off with in the first half, and luckily they were able to get that 9-3, Mika, because they really needed it. 6 out of 6 post plants that the opposing Neon side were able to convert on their attacking side in the second half, and when it came down to the Neons getting their plant off, it became such a difficult aspect for the Hero KDA to stop them. But if they're able to deny the plant in the first place, win out early in the round, get early picks off first blood, especially in the round, that is when they were able to cement and secure these rounds.
Well, map 1 goes to the Hero KDA. Can they cap this off with a 2-0? We're gonna find out as we step into the second map, Haven, right after this very quick break. So the Hero KDA were able to take map 1, but Neons weren't too far behind. The question is, can they even things out once we step into Haven? Black and Blue, they both have a lot of experience actually on this map, and I think that it will boil down to actually the individual plays that will come out here on Haven, especially since we're looking at players like Yamroll, for example, and Snowkey, and of course Strawberry Bagel, who popped off definitely on that previous map.
You never forget the Strawberry Bagel, not after a performance like that, but we have to wonder if map number 2 will kind of bring more favorable odds and ends here for a team like NEONS, who were able to kind of mount some sort of momentum in that second half. And with Haven being another map that is attacker-sided, one has to wonder if that side swap will really matter to them, I mean, as large as it did on Pearl. You look at their Haven in the past, and their win-loss is actually pretty neck and neck here when it comes on the attack and defense, 61% on either side. And I'm hoping that that means that they will have a much more consistent performance throughout the start of the map all the way to the end, because if they were able to gain a few rounds, kind of cut down on the lead early upon the first half of Pearl, who knows how that ending might have went.
Yeah, this time both teams have no excuses, right? Both teams have played this map over and over again, you know, and they have, it is a map that both teams actually, you know, have kind of like as you mentioned, the same kind of like win rate on. It's not that far off. I feel like right now, I usually say like the momentum is in favor of the team that won map 1. But I wouldn't exactly say that on the side of Hero KDA, given the comeback that NEONS was able to deliver, right? So I wouldn't exactly say that it's purely in their favor. Right now, I feel like this is actually a 50-50. It could be anybody's map.
Well, we have seen some, at least as of recent, not the most, I guess, enticing performances here on the map like Haven from the Hero KDA. Like, the recent ones, yes, the most recent, like Anomaly, Autrix, they were able to take those teams down pretty handily, but you look up against their other performances, like a team like Full Send Sapphire just, 2 months ago, and it wasn't really the biggest or most convincing show from them, and they might be surprised here, because if you look at NEONS, I think composition-wise, it's a pretty good shape that they're pulling into this. It's a pretty good tool and kit in hand that they're going to be playing into this map number 2. They love to run that Breach Sova, much akin to what you see on the opposing side here in the Hero KDA, and it might end up as a mirror match, with maybe the only difference being that Omen. And when you have an Omen, it gives you a lot much more aggressiveness. At the Hero KDA, we've seen that these gals, they can hit some crazy shots, like what we saw in that final round of the first half.
Yeah, so it seems like the Hero KDA, they do prefer the Astra, and it seems like NEONS prefer the Omen, right? Black and Blue, just based on that, like, if it boils down to that slight change in the composition, which team are you favoring?
I mean, like, my head tells me Hero KDA, yeah, sure, they have the more experience, they're the ones with, the bigger backing, and they're the ones who have, as we said, just the veterancy, at least in stark comparison to a team like NEONS, who have never made it to a top 8 like this. When the Hero KDA, we saw them during Open 3, they were pretty impressive, considering, how much the odds were stacked against them. But I really am delighted by what I've seen by NEONS this entire tournament. We saw that yesterday, their 2-0 win versus Nana, and then here today, where they almost are able to kind of close out on a comeback. If they're able to continue that and have a bit more consistency, which statistically they are more consistent here on a map like Haven than they are in Pearl, I would wager then that even if my head says, well, the Hero KDA, my heart has to go out here now for NEONS.
I now know why they're called NEONS. They have so much in common with their Asian counterpart, right? But first, going into Agent Select before I elaborate on that further, it seems here that we are having no surprises. Both teams are sticking with what they usually run on Haven at default. Yeah,
and this is what we are talking about, right? This will make it so that the big stylistical difference that was present during map number 1, with having that Reyna, having that Gecko, having that Sky, so many flashes to throw out, that isn't present here anymore. They're playing effectively a mirror matchup, with the only difference being that solo controller they got, and this, I think, makes it a more even playing ground now for a team like NEONS to really, I guess, play their style of game plan. It's very unorthodox to play that Gecko versus and Sky composition we saw a while ago, and with a solo Rain as a duelist, and now we're seeing a thing that's a bit more stock standard, a bit more by the book, and I think this will give Neon just that slight bit of familiarity to deal with the hero KDA for map number 2.
Ooh, so you're saying that like because it's a little bit more familiar, they'll know how to deal with it more. And but
yeah.
I feel like, you know, for the hero KDA, perhaps they were even like a bit uncomfortable with such a unique composition, and maybe with something more standard, it's gonna be like, you know, far more definitive of a win for them here. You know, it could be that as well. To elaborate, by the way, on what I was saying earlier about Neons, they are so momentum heavy, right? It's kind of like hitting that overdrive on their agent namesake, so to say. And you know, but the thing is, it does run out. So the thing is, they have to seal out they have to gain as many rounds, they have to seal that victory before that momentum runs out. Same thing that happened to them yesterday at DV and Topaz, right? So it seems like, you know, for Neons, they really have to make sure that they get, you know, those very, very important rounds. They have to make sure that they're able to steamroll, just start to get the ball rolling. For the hero KDA, you know, I think that it's not so much momentum heavy, but they do need to make sure that, you know, they are indeed more comfortable on this composition as they are. But we're gonna see indeed all of our questions are gonna be answered as we step into Haven. So let's throw it on over to our casters, Dax and Zach.
Looks like we're kicking off this battle momentum into a higher gear even. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Map number 2 between Hero KDA as well as NEONS. Back here with Zach yet again. And Haven, when you look at this map here, Zach, there's a lot of experience for both of these teams. NEONS, though, the panel did mention it. They're the ones affected more by how the momentum of these maps do go. We saw from Hero KDA when they would string along those rounds, it would be NEONS who would struggle to find the answer. But in more familiar territory, in a map that they're so accustomed on, perhaps this is where we'll get the NEONS recovery.
Perhaps indeed, especially with the fact that they have to go against an agent composition that is a mirror of their own, something that they're very familiar with and is honestly the meta comp for a map like Haven. So a little bit less that they have to worry about. I think that Hannah's Gecko pick in particular was a little bit chaotic, made Pearl more difficult for them. But despite that loss of map number 1, they still look pretty happy. You can see the smiles on their face, and perhaps that's a testament as to how confident they're feeling on this map number 2 as they head into it here. In particular, this double initiator setup from both these sides, we've seen how incredible all four of these players have been over the course of both today and yesterday, as well as throughout Game Changers this year. So in particular, I think that Lulu and Hannah, of course, they've been very consistent no matter which map it's been. But for NEONS, it's going to be some of the heavy lifting being thrown on the shoulders of Felche, Yoki, and Coyote, because they have to work together in coordination to be able to really set themselves up and find Coyote that value on that jet.
I mean, come on, we're gonna be still getting the Jets. We're still on that Champions patch, so at least it's still familiar for some of these teams. Double updraft, those lineups are still useful if ever. But we begin the action moving towards B. Snowky, this is dangerous. Not one, just one, but many. And Coyote will track her down. KitKat at the ready as well, peeking from Garage. And NEONS immediately reading the hero KDA as soon as the round starts. They figure out where they're going, and now it's Olu who's scrambling to try to make her way towards C. But KitKat, the deny yet again. The Sheriff tapped to get that kill. In a 5v2, NEONS were just so prepared to begin the round with.
4 players in that B site. They know that the hero KDA likes to go in for these quick hits on B, these pistol rounds on that B site, get that spike down and play post ban. They completely deny it. Now a 2v4, 2v5 situation. In fact, Strawberry Bagel and Hannah are the only players left. At least they have control of the spike, but that's a small mercy because of the fact that they were able to find no trades. The map control is just neglectable. They are going towards A, which is completely empty, but again, that's just going to be a 5v2 retake coming in.
Yeah, it was just such a good read. Perhaps NEONS also doing a lot of homework before anything else, remembering what the hero KDA
30
can
seconds
actually
left.
do to begin a round with. Speaking of, though, it's now the A site being taken here by hero KDA 2 still standing, and they're looking to find at least a pick or two before anything else. Moving into it. Coyote's at the ready. She struggled in the last map. Now she's just standing toe-to-toe against the opposition. Hannah will go for the plant. Dart though broken. The scan still gets connection. Bagel has been spotted. Hannah playing towards hell. And it's now NEONS cleaning up house. A flawless way to begin this map.
Very, very nice plays coming out of them. They look much, much more confident and disciplined on this particular map. Being able to just be methodical about their rounds and play in synergy together. It's kind of what they were missing for most of that first half on Pearl. But again, we talked about it before, the difference that something being your map pick can really make, and the fact that they were able to put up such a close game on Pearl, it seems to have encouraged them more than discouraged them. They're taking heart from the rounds that they got rather than the fact that they lost the map. So that's very encouraging to see.
Yeah, they're comfortable and they're also familiar with the comp the opponent is playing. The only difference right now is that Omen versus the Astra compared to Pearl, that the panel did make that point. It took a while for NEONS to understand what the whole play was there from the hero KDA, given that there was no previous information. Surprise was a factor in the first map. Here in the second, it has to be about the executes. The anti-eco though, 3 Spectres in hand, here for the defense.
Definitely a better buy, and they're also the Sheriffs. We saw the kind of shots that KitKat was able to hit just in that previous round. Once again, it's going to be a little bit of aggression being shown by the hero KDA towards his B side. This time around, opting for more of a retake setup. They break the utility here. Jet is able to walk in, and Snowkey might be able to get that plant at the cost of her own life. Never mind, it's denied.
She's not even. The aftershock, a little too ambitious there from the hero KDA, and both pay the price for it. Yamro though on board, and such a heavy stack towards like another fault line and another kill. It's Yoki, so ready for anything and everything. Good value for the breach and an even better hold towards
They do find a kill, at least getting something for their troubles in this anti-eco, but aside from that, very, very convincing round coming out of NEONS there. Good trades. They're going to be able to hold on to most of their weapons, and in fact, Yoki able to buy up on a Stinger as well while maintaining the eco for the next round. And on a map like Haven, right, there are so many of these close corners, these scrappy angles where it might be better to have a Spectre or a Stinger just because of how the fire rate goes and how it shreds the players apart if they can't hit your head in that first bullet.
Yeah, well, the hero KDA a little too ambitious in the last round. Now they have the guns to work with here, Zach, and they're looking to go for the push towards long. A little bit of heroics, though, courtesy of NEONS. They're on the bonus anyway. You want to play it close with the SMGs. Knockouts there, but Coyote spotted first and foremost. A great find and a great heads up there from Snowkey to begin the round with. But is it going to be enough for them to be confident on this A push? Sources say no, they're backing away for now.
They've gotten a pick, possibly summoned over the rotation, and with that expectation, they look to at least cut some noise, create a little bit of confusion in these ranks, although the spike itself, it's positioned towards A. And there are 2 players from NEONS kind of stacked up towards the short area of the map. Omen's still on site as well, and finally the executed seems to be coming in.
I was waiting for any kind of flag angle. Short is exposed, and this is going to be Yoki finding 1. Felcher also 2 for her, and seems like this double alert was enough to find the angles here for NEONS. Strawberry Bagel struggling now, but she still survives. As Snowkey will provide cover. KitKat now in a 1v2. Good damage done by NEONS. Maybe even better with a split surprise. Gets the shot going. The wall bang isn't enough to get that kill. 10 HP left here for Snowkey. And well, 12 HP also for Strawberry Bagel. Winnable here for KitKat in the 1v2 situation. Is it going to be enough though? Spotted early. And Bagel will stop her there. The round goes to the hero KDA, but that got way too dangerous.
Right off the skin of their teeth. 1 more bullet each from any gun. Forget the Sheriff. Any gun. Even a gust of wind would have been able to take them down. But thankfully for Strawberry Bagel, she doesn't miss at that range and she gets that shot. NEONS, their bonus, a very successful bonus by any means. Sure, they didn't win the round, but they made it super expensive here, taking down 3 rifles. Still, Hero KDA gotta be able to scrape together, save a little bit, put a Guardian on a Lulu, and manage to buy up. But for NEONS, if they can win this round, that's gonna decimate the economy for the Hero KDA.
Okay, they need to be careful of angles that they don't take because NEONS have been so proactive so far on this defense. They king against Coyote, who's just stuck, and the same result for what we saw in the last round. Coyote's the first victim. This time, the hero KDA putting a lot more presence, moving forward towards the site. They're not gonna hesitate this time around. Spray down those. Snowkey needs to stay in cover. Just these lows. these moments for the Hero KDA is forced to stop. This might be where it's dangerous, but Bagel opens up that C side, pulling another rotation away. And Hero KDA will move that appropriately. Double check, timing, finds a first. But Hannah will answer back. And inside the smoke, it's still Bagel. Yamro notices where she's pushing from. And Yamro with the presence. This is looking interesting, Zach. And Hero KDA pivot towards B instead.
Here.
They know the position of both of these remaining players. With Yamro finding a kill, but Yoki already quick on the rotate, finds her way towards B, makes it to a 1v1, and it's just up to Hannah here. Has possession, doesn't have possession of the spike either,
30
and
seconds
will
left.
have to be careful about the position of Yamro, who has already wrapped her way around.
Yeah, she had an inkling of intel, but Yamro is better on the angle. Neons yet again. The hold from Yoki, though, absolutely sublime. The way that she gets those two, the way that they're able to funnel the Hero KDA to move into a certain site that they're expecting. This is what we want to see from Neons.
Just the fact that they were able to take down Iceling denies smokes for that plant, and with the problem with B-side is that without smokes, it's just so easy, even with a lower number of defenders, to be able to find those angles and those kills, and that's exactly what Neons is able to do there. Now Yoki will have the Rolling Thunder off the back of that, and Neons in particular, they're really getting close to a lot of these major ults. The Hunter's Fury as well, only one away. And the Hero KDA, they're not used to this, Dax. They're not used to being the ones on the other side of the momentum streak, and they want to try to put a stop to it pretty early.
Yeah, it's rare to see the Hero KDA hesitate in these kind of games, right? That they're the ones being stopped by the initial utility, by the initial positions, and even if Neons loses one early on, they still recover so well on the sites. It's just the way that they're able to play on site itself and understand what they're giving up and how to play against it.
I think that so far the biggest obstacle for the Hero KDA has been the fact that this is a bigger map and they're kind of just sticking together as five. Sure, sometimes you have the lure coming in from Strawberry Bagel in particular, who is able to find a couple of kills of her own. Like last round, for example, she found KitKat on that site, but even with the early advantages that they're able to find, they're not able to really capitalize off the back of it very convincingly. Like, for example, last couple of rounds, they've been able to find that first split time and time again.
Get out of my way.
The lurk also from Strawberry Bagel has been good, but despite that, they're leaving themselves in these really vulnerable positions that Neons are quick to punish them for.
Yeah, and Snowkey's now dashing forward, misses the mark, gets by the target,
Oh,
and
no.
now flashed up. There's just no way for her to fight whatsoever. Neons yet again, just ahead of the opposition by a single step, and now a
One
leap
enemy
forward
remaining.
with Yoki and Coyote.
Strike
The
down,
Rolling
B.
Thunder will get the connection, and
like
it's
I
enough
was
for Neons to roll over the opposition, 4-1.
I like how Strawberry Bagel still walked in through the stun and was like, you know what, if I'm going down, I'm taking at least one down with me, so at least denying the flawless. But overall, a really, really good round coming in from Neons. I like the lack of hesitation in coming in and committing that Rolling Thunder. They're aware of how dangerous these players can be with just a sheriff or something, so they're happy to just invest that ultimate, knowing that they'll have a couple more for that next round, knowing that it will confirm them that round, because they understand the importance of momentum against a team like the Hero KDA, and they're able to just keep it up.
I mean, Hero KDA went for the full send, and even in that speed, Neons was prepared to answer back against them. So this is the form that we're expecting from Neons, the form that has brought them success so far in this LCQ run. And it's Hero KDA who's reeling to try and find the recovery. Two ultimates still available here for Hero KDA, especially that lockdown from Bagel. They're splitting up their forces to try and crawl their way towards C. Moments will get again, and Yamro, so sharp in that small bit of timing. Iceling just dared try touch that orb, and she paid the price for it. Alulu, though, finding Yamro in response. The garage being held here by KitKat, and Snowkeys will fall first and foremost. A Rolling Thunder is the answer. Here comes Alulu with the clear off the corner. But Yoki gets around towards the backside. She wins the duel anyway. Awkward there for Alulu. Yoki still alive somehow. And Neons just getting away with these kind of positions. The dart into play. Hannah gonna get scanned on up. Same answer though. Yoki still stuck in the command position.
standing.
Time though running out, and Yoki doesn't care. Bagel though with the trade. It's 1v2
30
now.
seconds left.
Now she's spotted by the Altron. Intel provided yet again. Neons here playing together from Link. This might be ill timing though, and eventually Coyote dares try to swing back. Bagel found the isolation at the very end. And in the 1v1, still a chance. Moves towards the site. Here comes the ring
10
around
seconds
from
left.
Felche. Time though running out here, Zach, and as Felch is crawling her way,
Spike planted.
silence is the answer, and it will be a
Oh.
sharp shot to end it. NEONS will make it a 5th.
Almost a clutch coming in for Strawberry Bagel, but in the end, just a really good reposition coming out of Felcha. Didn't really have the timing to be able to find that kill. Felcha just so ahead of the curve here to be able to find that kill. And overall, very, very good holds once again coming out of Neon's side. A lot of utility, and in particular, Yoki. I think she was the linchpin on which that round really revolved. Being able to find a kill on site, play that anchor, play spoil sport to that spike going down, and despite all the investment, right, the Rolling Thunder, the lockdown, everything being thrown into this round by the hero KDA, they're still not going to be able to win them. That's just going to put them in such a deficit position, especially with Coyote being able to pick up that operator now.
I mean, Yoki has done it all. A little bit of luck, a lot of that skill, and the fact that she was able to get, what, 2 kills? Even as she was completely stuck towards the corner of platform, really goes to show Neons, they're feeling it right now on this map. And Yoki, yet again, one of the first forms of contact here on this B attempt from the hero KDA. A dart into play, a full outline there too, but yet again, Yoki so precise with her utility, keeping the hero KDA at bay.
Operator chiming in as well, so now they know where this gun is going to be positioned. Coyote immediately trying to move herself over though, so to try and create a little bit of an impression at least that this operator is still towards another angle. The problem for the hero KDA is that they really don't have the weapons and the equipment to try and take this combat, and Neons, they're aware of it because look at the positions they're playing from. They want to take these long range fights and make the most of it.
And come on, we've seen from them even better use of the utility. Yoki has been setting the tone every single time. And here we go yet again, fault line into play, and Coyote will take advantage.
30
the
seconds
stun
left.
still absolutely shattering the hopes of the hero KDA. And as Lulu tries to go for the pokes and prods, she will look to force the issue. Aftershock now versus the backside. But it doesn't matter because spell she gets 2. Hannah and
Last
Iceling though
enemy
make the
remaining.
trades for Coyote. Drops down with the blades. And this time around, she gets one for a trouble. Shortly in the hand. And it will be the long arm of the
seconds
Spectre to get that kill. Spike looking to get planted. Sapsure, but no, the paranoia into the kill. KitKat's ready. Neons as well. And it's another win for the defense.
Got a little bit scrappy towards the end there, but yep, Neons, they do it once again. The last remaining player is just not taking any risks. The paranoia as well, knowing that the spike has to go down soon, knowing the position of that final player, and they're able to capitalize, find the round, and also retrieve that operator. And I'm very surprised that we didn't see a smoke come down towards heaven, because at that point, the Hero KDA still had all 5 of their players. This time around, though, they're going to be having their buy once again. Going to be having that Cosmic Divide to work with as well as they head into it.
Hero KDA again. They're looking to attempt for this A site, but we've seen the struggle so far once they look to cross onto the site itself. And the Coyote with the operator. Perhaps they can even get more value here. Watching towards shorts. The only one splitting away will be Bagel. Eventually, though, Stokey will go in head first. Stunned up yet again. Yoki, another instance where she's just playing traffic control. Yoki still wins it there. Iceling will eventually find her target, but the damage has been done. It's 2v2. The hero KDA getting the plant going. The lockdown, though, into play. We get the Cosmic Divide, and now there's a sense of mystery. Where will the hero KDA position? Dangerous here for Bagel. She will be detained, but in cover in time. On the prowl, seems like Yamro looking for a target or two. Paranoia barely misses the mark. Cat looking for that fight. She wins it anyway. And now in a 2v1, it's Bagel who has to find the angle. Bagel gets one, sure. The smoke is there though, and Yamro pushing, finds the corner and finds her target. Neon still no sweat despite adversity. They are just so cool at these rounds here, so calm, Zach.
This is a repeat of basically what happened in yesterday's first game as well. Team 1 dominates that map number 1. Well, in this case, it was a bit more even. Team 2, the second team dominates their map pick, and then we go to map number 3. And at least Neons, if we're going by the script here, they are definitely having a ball of a game on their map pick. They just look so in control. Every single lane of approach that the hero KDA is trying, it's being completely shut down. And this in the beginning of the map, at least, Neons, they were losing their players first. They were playing a little bit aggressive and being punished for it. But with that operator coming into Coyote's hands, that's just one more piece of equipment that the Hero KDA, they're kind of struggling up against. Again, an economic deficit here. Strawberry Bagel does have the lockdown, but even with that piece in their pocket, it's going to be very difficult for them to really get forward to the site.
Here we go again. The fault line, though, we're watching Yoki. She's been stellar with a double kill so far in this map. And the Snowkey will look for the push. The 1-for-1 already coming into play. Backside, though, still held over on the corner. Yoki's in position. Yoki with a spray down. She does it yet again. 2-2. And who else loves to go for the buy one, take one? It's Felcha with the Hunter's Fury. It's coupon day here for Neons. They're getting the best deals so far on these site holds. And as Aisling tries to go for the fight, spots out Felcha, will back off. Back to that C site. It's an op, though, and a Vandal awaiting her. In terms of retake, Aisling wants to bridge that gap and get closer to allow that Spectre to find value. The crossfire, though, being set, and Felcha's just so prepared anyway. Neons, again, they just look so comfortable here on Haven.
I mean, the 8-1 scoreline definitely agrees with you there, Dax. They look like they can do no wrong at this point. The one round that they did lose, it was to a weapons deficit here, and even that one, they made it reasonably close, doing quite a bit of economic damage. Now, they have the Rolling Thunder back onto Yoki. They didn't really need to invest any of the ultimates except for that Hunter's Fury in that round last time around, and Felcha was able to find a kill off the back of it as well. So the Hero KDA, they have potential this time around. They have the guns back. They have the lockdown and the snowball potential with the Hunter's Fury and the Rolling Thunder of their own. So if there's a round that they have to win, it has to be this one. They have to break this momentum for Neons, and they have to bring up the score in their favor. Not like that, though.
Well, they were asking for trouble. Eventually, Coyote will find that first kill into a round, and here comes Felcha as well. So much confidence here for Neons. But you have to be careful. Hero KDA, these are some of the best shots we have in APAC LCQ. And Hannah, of course, is one of those shining examples. 2 for her. Aldro now to scout out the site. Coyote here, stuck in the corner, trying to hide at the very least, but Lulu has strolled in, and she will waltz over the corpse of Yamroll. Bagel now moving towards short, but this is ill timing for Coyote. Bagel will look to bring her back, and eventually will get the kill. It's 3v1, and finally we see here from the Hero KDA their prowess and the way that they're able to find these takedowns along the way. KitKat spotted by the turret. Hero KDA so prepared for this. Double, make that the triple up even, as Lulu will spray down from the corner, and as the KDA squad getting a second round here.
The best part was they didn't even need to use any of those ultimates to get that round, and they were quick to be able to bring this back here. Despite losing a couple of players early on, Hannah finds 2 kills of her own, and after that, Lulu is quick to go capitalize and find a couple more towards the end. Now, in the last 2 rounds of the half, there's a Rolling Thunder available in trade for Rolling Thunder, as well as a lockdown, and of course, Hannah picked up the operator, so that's going to be pretty interesting to watch for as well. The Hunter's Fury with the Sova and the operator. That's an interesting combination.
That's as long range as can get, and yes, Hannah usually playing the initiator for the squad. Doesn't matter, she's one of the best shots that the Hero KDA has, proven already by the last round. Moving over now to the next as we go for a C take here. Courtesy of the Hero KDA. Aisling setting up the stars. Yamroll though with a paranoia for the stall, but the Rolling Thunder is there into play. Yamroll has it from the shadows, can't evacuate if ever, but she has made her way towards the garage in time. Looking for the clear though. KitKat towards the corner, trying to go for at least a sneaky kill or 2. The Aldronode gets the spot. KitKat still waiting for the opportunity. The smoke dissipates, and the Rolling Thunder into place. Spike still planted. Bagel spotted out by Yamroll along the way. Neons now with the advantage, but still a struggle because of that long plant. The angle's good here for the Hero KDA, and Snowkey and Lulu will make sure that it will matter. Yamroll though on the flank. Hannah does find it still. It's Felcha though on the board. Snowkey bringing out the blades. Coyote has gotten halfway, but in the 1v2, she'll look to go for the stick. Gets the tag, but Neons will get away with the clutch defuse. 9-2 as the defense will steal it away.
Round before the
That's the second time that we're seeing seeing this kind of play coming out of NEONS. Put down a smoke. Last time it was a Cosmic Divine display. This time it was a smoke. And they just take the spike through. It doesn't matter if you're Hunter's Furying at them or throwing Blade Storms at them or spraying at them. They just know their objective. It's to defuse the spike. And they do it without too much trouble. 9-2 right now. A timeout being called by NEONS, which is pretty interesting. But maybe they're just trying to plan ahead for that second half. Find a convincing 10-2 scoreline here. Close it out in their favor. And I think that they definitely have a pretty good chance of doing that, Dax. What do you think?
I feel like Neon's right now, it's just incredible to see how they're getting away with these kind of plays and positions, though, Zach. So far, you're seeing Neon's still be willing to contest strong angles there from the hero KDA, use that as a distraction, and it feels like sometimes for the hero KDA, this is an incredible team per se. We've seen again their standing from the Swiss stage, but they do get caught up in a clash so well. They're so focused on looking for those kills, keeping tabs of the opponents, that sometimes it's just that small instance that they leave that spike where they're distracted by someone else. And NEONS, we've seen so far in 2 maps, they've taken advantage of that fact.
Definitely, they've been able to do exactly that. But in this map in particular, I think I really like how they're playing their setups, especially on that C side. That's the side that I feel like the hero KDA have struggled the most to really find purchase in. They keep trying to push the issue on A and C, and they've given up on B as a matter of course, because the first few times that they went there, it just didn't work out in their favor. So now we're seeing a push coming up by the defenders who are looking to get a little bit dicey. Almost, it's just gonna come down to the timing.
Change up the pace. And we see from NEONS a bit of aggression. Bagel spotting out KitKat, but because of that presence, they don't realize that both Yamroll and Coyote are hugging close towards the wall and looking to see if anyone will look to push from the middle of the map. It's a good call though from the hero KDA. You mentioned already, they've been avoiding that B site after all the pinches courtesy of NEONS. They split towards A, go for the lockdown as well. From this point on, they can move towards the site. Still the high ground available for Felche. Smoked up already, courtesy of Iceling. Onto the side, the hero KDA look to play. Insane though, getting no one so far. 2 shots here and there. I believe the shock darts lob towards default as well. Hannah though, waiting for the timing, spots out the head. The hood of Yamroll will roll onto the floor. And as Hannah gets one, maybe even a second, no, Coyote prepared for the repeat. It's 4v4, but Bagel gets the read. Advantage now here for Hero KDA, and exactly what Hero KDA wants. A scrap, a fight, and fisticuffs abound. This will be their round.
Another 9-3 half coming in. This time though, NEON's gonna be the ones in the lead here on their map pick. But we're going to be switching the sides over right now. But before we head into the attacking half from NEONS, we're going to have to see what our panel has to say about this very interesting first half that we just saw.
This is so ironic. This is the exact same thing that happened on map 1, except the sides are switched now, and it looks like NEONS is running away with that with the 9 rounds, and the hero KDA now has the 3 and are struggling. But it seems like the hero KDA on the last 3 rounds, they were catching on to something, but it was a little too late.
Yeah, and you know, NEONS are doing this on the defensive side as well. The less favored side typically here on Haven, but as I said, they are neck and neck in terms of their attacking and defensive side win rate here in Haven, so they're very consistent at winning both ends of the floor, and this becomes an even bigger problem now here if you're the hero KDA. You look at their defensive side and it's not the one to write home about. I'm worried now for them that this might be kind of the same show where we saw from map number 1, where the team that got those 9 rounds in the first half, the lead was just too big that even if the hero KDA in this case start to come back a bit, there might have just been too big of a lead and too little too late now to come back against it, NEONS.
Oh boy, that means pay attention, pay close attention to the pistol rounds coming up right now, because it's gonna determine as well who gets that momentum coming into this half, and if NEONS gets it, ooh, it could be deadly indeed for the hero KDA. But we're gonna see indeed as we pass it on back to our casters to continue the rest of this map.
Thank you so much there to the panel, and they make such a good point. We've seen here, Zach, that these buffers for the second half, right, after the lead that they make on the first, even if the hero KDA try to go for the rally, it's such a long road ahead of them with a 6-round gap so far.
I mean, we did see that Neons were able to make that climb almost successful in that previous map, so I wouldn't put it past them, but this pistol, it's almost a must-win condition here. Sure, we've seen teams come back from 11-3 on the Bayo, some of the biggest stages ever, but it's better to not put yourself in that position, you know, just try to take, narrow that gap as early as possible, and that will be the aim for the Hero KDA as they look to deny a map number 3 really being pushed through. But pistol round kind of be coming finally to a start, and they're taking it much slower than their counterparts.
Oh, and Coyote, that's a good start for her. Hannah falls. Alulu now with the trade, but still eventually it will be a scrap towards the garage. Hero KDA so prepared. Every single angle they can play with, they're ready. Even the windows their opportunity. The pistol so quickly going their favor.
Very, very fast run. I was just saying, like, hey, I don't know what is happening, and then I shut up, and immediately a lot of stuff starts happening.
Laying down the land, surveying what's going on. Suddenly, there's already a house built, and it's the Hero KDAs.
Just a dash flash and a couple of kills coming in, but either way, a really, really good round for the Hero KDA, especially towards that garage. It got a little bit scrappy with Bagel going down, but they were quick to react and capitalize on finding those kills here. So overall, I think Neons, they're not going to be able to do much in this particular round. They do have a couple of classics to work with, but because they didn't get that plant at all, it's just not much money to work with at all.
They've been strong at stopping the place for Neons this time around. Moving into the second half as Alulu already doing the job that needs to be done. They're the ones who need to prove that they can make their executes work. Alulu though, keeping tabs of the opposition. Snowkey will get that final kill, and quick first 2 rounds of the second half here, Zach. Immediately is the Hero KDA getting back with their momentum.
Very hefty purchase in that last round as well. You saw those 4 Spectres and an Ares in Hannah's hands. Honestly, the only gun that is almost as terrifying as the Judge / Odin would have to be the Ares. Like, it's a bit cheaper, but that doesn't mean it is any less dangerous, especially in the hands of somebody like Hannah. So, Neon's they're gonna have to be a bit careful about that heading into this particular round. They do have the buy, and they're looking to capitalize on the longer range by heading towards the C side. It seems like.
Look, if you play the Ares, that means you know what you're doing. It has that kick, and let's see how Hannah will go for the control. Scan though by the dart, took her a while to break that one down as the Aldron looks for a target. Hannah's first victim. KitKat on the board. Bagel though, stutter push from the garage. Neons eventually will stop her in her tracks. A bit of damage done, but advantage still here for the attackers. 3v2 Felge looking to go for the plant. Flash comes into play, gives a chance here for Hero KDA to move towards the backside, but over onto the corner, it's Coyote isolated yet again. Beautiful, beautiful movement from Felche. At least she gets one for her troubles. It's a 1v1 now, and it's getting so perilous so far. KitKat, though, will win it by the end.
Takes advantage of the timing. Lulu trying to put down that aftershock, maybe force a little bit of time for her to at least touch that spike, but KitKat just so aware they're ready to win out that fight in that longer range with the help of that Vandal. But all things considered, the Hero KDA, they did a good job of devastating the economy there for Neons. They're still going to be able to buy up, yes, but them taking down 4 of those rifles, it's going to make this next economic buffer so much less viable if they do end up losing this round. They're going to be pushed into an eco right off the bat. And the Hero KDA, on the other hand, they're charging up their ultimates, one off that Rolling Thunder. So we might see a couple of them come into play in this round.
I mean, it was already a solid defense there, a solid bonus rather from Hero KDA getting 4 of those kills. Bagel though, such a strong way to find an angle or two if ever. She was able to get that sudden surprise from the garage a while ago. This time though, found by Coyote early on. And Neon's keeping tabs of what happened in the past, here the present. Alulu though, Flash coming into play, Shock Darts also to go for a bit more of the cover, but Neons doesn't care. They're still winning the duels anyway. They're moving now towards the seaside, and Hannah will find even more value. Spots one, but is answered back immediately. Snowkey over towards Link. She's the only one still standing as Neons have been so systematic so far. With the spike plant, it's such a difficult proposition. A 1v4 in this situation. The odds are stacked against her here, Zach.
Pretty much so. Not much that she can really do. At least she is healthy, so she might be able to at least find some damage. But aside from that, it's pretty much impossible, especially with the post plant they're holding now. Position no one, paranoia thrown a little bit too much for Snowkey to deal with, and she might just be better off trying to save this weapon here, especially with the turret giving away her position even further. And NEONS, they're gonna get to 11. They find the kill as well to boot, and just like that, they're only 2 rounds away from pushing this into a map 3, and they look so convincing in every single round that they won so far.
Absolutely. The script has been flipped, and we were talking about here for NEONS. It's all about their executes, and not only that, they're so strong again at sniffing out where the hero KDA want to play initially. It's their biggest strength so far as a team. The way that they find the punish and the way that they gather that intel to begin with. They just know what angles to watch out for, especially when they want to go for a specific execute.
Now, a timeout gonna be called again. There's just not much of a leeway to work with here. Again, the economy not gonna be in the best spot for the hero KDA. They have the ult. Snowkey won off of the Blade Storm. That might be enough for them to really push this forward, but it's going to be a long grind to make that scoreline look a little bit less threatening. On the other hand, NEONS, they seem to be holding all the cards here, full flush, as you said yesterday. They have the lockdown, one off the Hunter's Fury, and they are performing across all cylinders. In particular, we talked about the importance of these initiator players, and both Felcha and Yoki, they're stepping up huge for the team here. Almost 31 kills between both of them. You know, usually you expect your Jet to be on top, or, well, in Strawberry Bagel's case, Strawberry Bagel to be on top. But in this scenario, it's just the initiators popping off for NEONS.
Yeah, and this is such a huge step up, honestly, for Yoki and Felcher. They're usually the ones playing a bit of that support. This time around, it's Coyote and Yamroll a little bit on the bottom of that scoreboard, not because of a lack of something. It's just the step up has been unreal here from the initiators, and they've set the pace for many of these rounds so far in the game. NEONS, though, 2 away from forcing a decider. Last time these two teams did meet, Zach, it did go 3 maps, so I wouldn't be surprised if NEONS can get the job done here. It's up to them, though. They look to find another opportunity. Hannah with the Owl Drone and Eco here from the hero KDA. They're looking to play a bit committed towards the cubby. Spotted the mid-lead. Yamro it again, going for the check. But Hannah, what a shot as she fades away towards the corner. At least back into cover. It will be a pick here from the hero KDA to answer back.
Almost gets a second as well, and talking about NEONS, they're quick to rotate over towards this A site now. Strawberry Bagel still trying to play spoil sport, hit by the flash though, playing in the corner, gets spotted out, and Coyote there for the punish. 2 kills, 1 kill already, looking for the second as well as Snowkey takes quite a bit of damage, and the retake, it's gonna be very awkward.
Blade Storm here waiting for anyone else to go for the push. The hero KDA, they still want to try to chip away against the lives of NEONS. The lockdown gonna be into place. Still gets one before she falls, but Coyote's getting them all. 3 already for her. Ready for anyone else to go for contact. And NEONS again overwhelmed the site that they look to go for the opening. Hannah, she's so sharp with the Sheriff, but the struggle versus 3 players. The setup is strong here for NEONS. Kit Kat though wants to go for the push herself. Multiplying into play as well. And NEONS, they are just so prepared for everything here on Haven. They're looking so well oiled right now, and they put themselves at match point as a result.
1 round away from map 3. It looks like the series, it's definitely going all the way. We had our initial doubts after that first half that the hero KDA were able to put across on Pearl, but throughout the series, NEONS, they've been incredible at just standing their own, not letting the pressure get to them, and just being able to jump back into the flow of things. Still, they have that Hunter's Fury ready to go. 1 off of that from the shadows, as well as Yamroll wants to try and make a cheeky Omen play for the hero KDA, though. At least in this possible last round for them, they have the resources to try and work with here. Snowkey looking to be on the hunt.
Yeah, Snowkey at least trying to change the fate here of the hero KDA.
Right here.
Play, honestly, to the namesake, be that hero. It's been a struggle so far for hero KDA being proactive. NEONS have found the answer again and again thanks to their utility and their initial setup. The way now that they peek some of these corners, they're checking out anyone stuffing themselves in these tighter angles. And Bagel had an endeavor perhaps to try and play it towards long. Dash being primed here by Snowkey. NEONS playing a slower game instead, and Coyote still wins it anyway. Opening now made here by NEONS, but they're not gonna rush the issue. Still play slow. Look for anyone else who does overcommit or overpeak. And they move towards the garage. Again, the smoke towards the window might give a chance for Coyote to actually move forward. Olu still playing towards B, that spike being ferried towards C. And we just get the paranoia going. Isling now alongside Hannah. This corner is going to
30
connect for
seconds
sure. And the double up is not enough.
Oh,
Neons
no.
are just so prepared. 3 already here for Coyote. Such a convincing map here, Zach. Such a way to win so far. Spikes planted. 4v1. Bagel needs to bring out a miracle here.
Yeah, Strawberry Bagel might be the player to watch out for, but this might be a little bit too much to ask from anyone, including her. 3 players from Neon's just going for that disciplined close plan setup. They know where Bagel is right now, and there's going to be one more towards the backside. 15 HP, but that's all Coyote needs to close it out. 13-5 and Neon, they will force the issue to a map 3. They will take this series all the way here, Dax.
Yeah, Decider is set, and can you feel the spark as Neons have showed up on Haven? This is what we're talking about, though. Even if they lose that first map, they look so strong, so convincing, and honestly so enamored on playing on Haven itself. The way that they navigate around these 3 site maps is what they used against Hero KDA last time around on Lotus in the Swiss stage. This time around also, strong executes and strong stalls. What a game though from Yoki. All the time, especially in that first half, such a big component to the success of Neons, and just the way that Neons is able to stop Hero KDA and find a way to force a way that they can succeed. Well, that's what will bring us to map number 3. Let's toss it over to the panel because we still got more to come in the series.
Well, I have to admit, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting, you know, that map to be that one-sided, actually. And I know I did say, hey, pay attention to pistol rounds on the second side. It's like, Neon said, no, it's okay. They can have pistol rounds. It's fine.
I mean, I don't think the end results are too surprising, but how he got there, right? Just the fact that it was a complete one-way show on either end of the floor for both maps, really, for the most part. That's just a big surprising thing. We talked about, you know, Hero KDA more than likely winning map number 1, and then Neon's really greatly possibly winning Haven here just based on statistics. But now we were looking at that Pearl, and this is where we were saying it's anybody's game. Rather, on that Fracture, this is where we're saying it's anybody's game, right? And I think the bigger thing here is that when you're a team like Neon, who are the bigger relative unknown, and then you pull off a comeback here like that to equalize the series up 1-1, that has to do wonders against the mental here of the Hero KDA.
For sure, especially since, like, as we mentioned, you know, earlier, the Hero KDA, there's, I guess, everybody's favorites coming into this, and they were the ones who, every single team here, they really had their eyes on them as, like, you know, potentially the team to beat, right? And Neon's here, it looks like they did come prepared for that, and I love that they're bringing the fight to the Hero KDA. It's gonna be interesting going into the next map, which is gonna be Fracture, because these 2 teams did play that map not too long ago. So at that time, the Hero KDA were able to take Fracture 13-8, but yes, it was that close at that time. So it's gonna be a question of whether Neons have learned anything from that previous encounter, and how that can translate to a potential win for them here against the Hero KDA, bringing them closer to the grand finals.
Well, one thing we've learned, Mika, is that at least when the compositions aren't so awkward against them, they can finally, you know, be more familiar in what to be able to do. We saw that during map number 1, where we're in Hero KDA, we're running that Gecko with a Reyna, with a Sky. It just felt so much more uncomfortable for Neons to play against, and now that we have something a bit more, I guess, expected and up to par, you can see that Neons are a bit more comfortable in dealing with that when it comes to an almost mirror match. And then we look at Fracture, and historically, their compositions are exactly the same here on a map like Fracture. They love to play that mirror comp when it comes to Fracture, and maybe this could be another point where you're going to see that familiarity favor the strengths of Neons.
Yeah, I wonder what these teams have, you know, prepared for each other, especially since, like, as you mentioned, mirror match, it looks like all of the differences have been set aside now, and they're like, okay, let's even out the playing field and let's go back to Fracture, where it kind of like all, I guess, the rivalry began for these teams, right? It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting indeed. I think that, you know, it's gonna boil down to a lot of individual performances, and when we talk about that, I do have to point out Coyote had a really, really good map. I mean, like, she was pulling out the triples, you know, in a lot of rounds, and I think that, you know, she really came online in there. And what I do like about these teams is, like, when they you know, kind of pass around that responsibility of like being that player to be able to carry the team, it shows a lot more sustainability, right, in the long run. Especially when you have those best of fives, for example, going into the finals. So it's gonna be another rematch, I guess, for the Hero KDA and Neons on Fracture, which will happen right after this very quick break.
Here.
One enemy remaining.
So it looks like these two teams need to go back a few days and rewind to what happened on Fracture, except that now they get a second chance to do it all over again. The score is tied right now, so who is gonna take this series? Is it gonna be the Hero KDA or is it gonna be NEONS? Right now, I think Black and Blue and I are in agreement that this is like the true 50-50. We really don't know where this is going based on the previous two maps.
Yeah, I mean, from the get-go, we were kind of touting, you know, maybe map number 1 goes Hero KDA's way, and then map number 2 could be Neon, and then now that we've been proven right, we just have to wonder how this third one will go. And I'm looking at the Fracture map where, at least composition-wise, it's the most alike between both teams. We don't really see much deviance from that ever from these two teams. So if they don't end up in a mirror match, somebody has something in store.
Yeah, I'm also wondering if while I doubt they're gonna throw anything, you know, strange into the fray right now, I do wonder if anything will change in their playstyle, especially since it wasn't too long ago that these two teams faced off against each other on Fracture. They do know that something has to change, especially on the side of NEONS. Now that I do definitely say that they do have that momentum in their favor, right? So I feel like, you know, going into Fracture, and knowing that the Hero KDA has their number on this map, what are they going to change up? What X factor are they going to bring here so that they can close it out and have history not rewrite itself?
Well, it's very... You have to wonder if that's even going to be the plan for the Mika. If anything, I think it's going to be Hero KDA who might change something up composition-wise here. They're the ones who, in the past, maybe have run that jet, although it was a different composition, roster, but... they're the ones who have proven that when it comes to an almost mirror match, like what we saw here in Haven, where they were running basically the same comp with only the Omen and Astra being differing, they're the ones who struggle in those type of mirror matchup setups when they don't really have a big stylistical difference in contrast to throw against Neons, and Neons have been more comfortable in playing those mirror matchups. So when it's looking at themselves in the face, when they're looking into the mirror, they're the first ones to blink here, the Hero KDA, and I think Neons, they're smooth sailing right now in terms of their confidence after map 2.
Yeah, it's so impressive how this squad has managed to band together, right? I thought at first it's like, okay, Deviant and Topaz, you got really lucky. This is going to be a true test for Neons. It's going to be the Hero KDA. And I'll be honest, I was expecting a 2-0 in favor of the Hero KDA. Maybe Neons was going to bring it really close. But this is really interesting right now. I mean, it goes to show how prepared, like, you know, Neons are. And yes, they may be one of the newer teams heading into this LCQ, but they definitely have the, you know, the work cut out for them. And right now, it looks like we are seeing that mirror matchup that we were talking about earlier. I think that, you know, Strawberry Bagel has had such a great performance so far. And up against Kit Kat here in Fracture, that's the head-to-head I'm kind of going to be looking for, especially since we have a lot of rotations. I mean, that lockdown can be put in such cheeky places here, and you know, you can use it to even force the other team to rotate around. If you can force that kind of like that other team to move into that kind of passive state, especially on a map like Fracture, it could, you know, it could move well for the team that manages to get that up.
Well, the last time around these two teams faced off against each other, it was the Hero KDA who was able to be more successful in that 13-8 during the Swiss stage of this LCQ. And, you know, even though that might be the case, a lot of times you're going to see the team that did lose out in the previous matchup, they're the ones who have more to gain, more to learn from, and more to adjust, and that might just be what's going to happen here. Neons, they have information now on what to differ from, what to return, and what to continue from last time.
That extra pressure, right? The Hero KDA is just saying, oh, just have it exactly like last time, no worries. But sometimes that can also be their downfall, right? Meanwhile, Neons is just like, you just gotta keep going, keep on running, is what they're saying. We're gonna see indeed who manages to run away with this series as we toss it on over to the casters to get into Fracture.
It's looking like it's a marathon here in the upper bracket. Both of these teams want to make it to Elite here, Zach. They know that there's such a big plan. There's a big way for them to actually move into, well, perhaps greatness at the end of the year. But from what we've seen so far, Decider is the way to go. I'm honestly so excited for this one because when you look at it, you have one team who dominated in the first map, another into the second, and now a final map here, Zach, where both teams are running the same comp, and it's the same third map that we saw them last time around in the Swiss stage.
Last time around, it was 13-8 in the favor of the hero KDA. Can Neons rewrite the script? That will be the question on everyone's mind. And I always like how happy Neons look, whether they're winning, losing. They always seem to have a smile on their face, not letting the pressure really get to them. And that's a good sign heading into this particular one. In that previous map, we talked about the performance of the initiators, Felcher and Yoki being able to come up huge for the side of Neons. And Yoki's going to be continuing to be on that breach. And we saw the kind of impact she could have in that last map. Now, though, it's going to be the Raze switch around for the duelists. We've been seeing Jets all this time so far. Well, Arena on the first map, but Jet on map number 2. Now it's going to be a Raze versus Raze and Coyote versus Snowkey. This is something that personally I am very excited to see.
I'm excited too. This is looking very exciting between Neons and the hero KDA. It's gone to the decider. It's gone to a third map. And as our panel did mention last time we saw this from Neons and the hero KDA, it was a 13-8 victory in favor of the attackers now. So Snowkey, perhaps she can actually lead yet again for history to be repeated. Painchill's lob towards Canteen. Tower being taken as well. And we've seen how effective this has been so far in LCQ. Get the tower, get control of the site, and keep the opposition at bay.
Just that pincer maneuver, very efficient as ever. And while Hannah tries to get down the spike, there is going to be some utility pushback coming out of Neon's deny. The flank as well kicking in as the spike, it finally looks to go down.
Yeah, it's not even planted as of yet. The hero KDA sticking around in relative safety, but KitKat slowly but surely stalking the opposition. She's already made her way from spawn, moving into main. And Aisling might be surprised here by KitKat's presence. KitKat with 1, and Neons will find 3 along the way. Hannah and Strawberry Bagel do fight back, sure, but it's difficult here for hero KDA until Hannah gets a solid flick. KitKat, though, with a quick answer. Neons now, they just played their cards right, waited for the hero KDA to show a bit of weakness.
No, you don't deserve.
Talking about waiting, it seems like the hero KDA waited just a little bit too long to get that spike down, because look at how quick KitKat was on the flank. She breaks the turret, gives the information away, sure, but just the timings being found by KitKat enables her to get that 3K and just creates an additional layer of pressure that Neons were very quick to capitalize on. We did see some nice shooting coming out of Hannah towards the end, but that's going to be that. When you're playing for that retake setup on this A side, that flank coming in is just so huge to deal with. B side, sorry. And it's just so much more than the hero KDA can really deal with. They didn't even get the spike down at the end.
I mean, we've seen this be a problem for the hero KDA in that last map. When they hesitate, that's when Neons finds even more value from them being active. They just don't stop. They keep going with their play. They make sure that they can get closer to hero KDA if given the opportunity. And perhaps even more lurks will be afoot later on into the map. But Snowkey moving towards tunnel and trying to regroup alongside Bagel to go for the tower take. Arcade being covered already here by Coyote, though. She has a Spectre. Looking to watch out for that long angle. And Neons actually, while they are set up for B, the hero KDA rotate towards A instead.
So far, no kills coming through for either side. The problem with that is when you do rotate like they are doing now, there's just going to be so much pushback available with both players having taken main control to boot. Drop seems to be the area of interest, and there's an alarm bot ready to give away the signal. They have the information now. Neons know where these players are coming from, and already Coyote catching the stragglers here as the rotation. It jumps back towards
30
Arcade.
seconds
I mean,
left.
she's been waiting there, and dinner bells do ring by Canteen as Coyote might have such a strong position for the upcoming push. Next victim ready for another plate, but Aisling actually able to cover and cross. Hannah, though, finding the cat so sharp still, no matter what the gun is. But Coyote, same angle, same
down,
result
B.
towards tower
10
now with the
seconds
pain
left.
shells. It's
One
just a
enemy
buffet for
remaining.
her and Yam roll. Looks like, well, the hero KDA, they're served on the silver platter. Flashed up even. Time has run out. Neons will be able to get this round. But maybe Snowkey, a kill or two can help. Not gonna happen. Saves the Sheriff actually, and that's Neons. Again, putting a stop to whatever hero KDA is planning here.
I really, really like that play. Like, Neons, they had the they had the opportunity towards the end to take out Snowkey, but instead they're like, you know what? You can live with your Spectre, have your economy broken, and now Snowkey, she's not going to be able to buy up for this round, leaving their duelist without a rifle in hand. Just such a nice little cherry on the cake that Neons have been running so far. Sure, they lose a player, Yoki gonna be forced to just have a sheriff in hands, but all things considered, a very successful round. And Snowkey, she finally does decide to buy up on a Spectre.
Yeah, here we go again though. Yamroll now taking the same angle used by Coyote a while ago. Still, the Spectre in the play. Nightfall has been made here by Hannah. Lots towards the side. Snowkey still doesn't care about what she's holding. Spectre enough to get that first kill. Yamroll with a trade. And Yoki, despite the silence, she's the one making her voice be heard. It's 3v3 though, as the hero KDA have made their way towards the site. The spike also in position. They haven't planted as of yet. And the push instead coming in from Olulu. Yamroll, she might be the one caught here with the backstab. Hannah though, holding well. It's Felcha now versus 2. She's coming in from the main angle. The fade though, getting a bit of intel. Spike hasn't been planted as of yet. And that's been interesting so far in these rounds here, Zach. We're expecting the timings from the hero KDA. It's been off foot thanks to Neons. But eventually, the plant goes down. Felcha though isolates the angle. And Olulu will be there for a quick trade after the stun. The hero KDA, it was bloody, but they win a round.
They lose 4 guns in the process, so economy gonna be looking a little bit dicey in these further rounds. But let's just talk about what a nice play that was coming out of Hannah. And a 1v3 finds that first kill. Is able to create a little bit of pressure as well, and they wait for the spike to go down, which means that they can get a couple more kills. Towards the end though, Felcha, she bounces back. She's able to do a little bit of damage of her own, finding a couple of kills, and brings it down to a 1v1. Utility from Olulu, of course, does save it, but at the end, Neons, they look so dialed in here. That dominant win on that map number 2 really giving them the confidence to go head-to-head with the hero KDA, not letting any of that past occurrences really stop them, because they might not have done well in the past, but they are looking extremely well prepared for this particular matchup.
I mean, despite what happened, it's hero KDA with that round win. Coyote though denying Bagel of any kind of lurk potential, and as Snowkey decides to bring the rest of the roster moving into that A side. It's Neons prepared from top to bottom. The Molly gonna get lobbed as the spike's planted closer towards the main instead. The lockdown's gonna be into play too, and it's the Neons KDA trying to scramble. Hero KDA rather, finding 2 already. At least on their exits, they still survive, they still thrive. The Satchel being loved, icing on the board, and the hero KDA making it tricky the scenario. Aftershock gonna be into play, as we do see Yoki try to fight back. He's all alone though in the 1v2 set. Flash coming on out. High ground being taken here by Hannah. And yet again, she's ready for anyone crossing. She does not miss. And the hero KDA will tie it up.
That was a very weird position for the lockdown to come down, because it just leaves so many angles on site. I think that they expected more players to be towards main. They go for the push, they go for the fights, but Snowkey makes it so expensive time-wise. Sure, she eventually goes down, but at that point, it's just a 1v2. Yoki left alone, and the damage has been done. There's just no time for her to work with to try and isolate those fights. She has to go for it, and Hannah, she's not one to let something like that really slide by. So after that round, Neons, they're gonna be the ones with the economy kind of pincered out, but look at that ultimate build up here, Dax. They have so much to work with.
And the hero KDA, they are gonna go for the A take yet again. Sheriffs in hand short for Neons, 1 away from 3 ultimates, and Yambro picking up the orbital strike, there courtesy of the orb. So Neons, they are prepared to try and fight back with the ult if ever. Isley though gonna go for the plant. Hannah looking again to suppress anyone peeking from drop. And this is just, again, a confident play from the hero KDA. They expect the flank coming in. And Yoki will be first spotted. Bagel ready for 1, even ready for a second perhaps. But Yamroll survives with 10 HP and dishes out damage in response. 4v4 as Coyote flies high. Icing though prepared by Sands and buries Coyote there. Maybe again, prepared for the angle. Here comes Yamroll and down she falls. It's all the hero KDA here until Felcha fights back. It's straight for trade in the end though. The hero KDA, they thrive in these scenarios, Zach.
That's 3 rounds in a row, and they are slowly but surely building up the momentum here. I like that you brought up how they thrive in chaos, Ducks, because that's definitely the trademark of this particular team. When not just that, when they do have the advantage, they're not super quick to let go of it. Just those adjustments, right? So far, you've seen how Neons likes to flank, likes to push out, and the hero KDA, they go for the kind of post-plant positioning that takes full advantage of it. They go towards spawn instead, take control of that particular area, and the plant of the spike as well is geared towards that. So they're just adapting to their opponents quite quickly here.
They're just so prepared no matter what. And the blast back in, the blast back out, in and out. Snooki has had enough of the dish duel. With the flash though, Bagel has to back on the way, and we've seen this so far from both of these teams, Zach, contesting the angles as soon as possible.
Now, though, things after a little bit of scrapping towards that A side, it looks like eventually they want to go towards B instead. They have that lockdown available, and this is a kind of ult that's most effective towards this particular side. It basically gives it to you for free, especially with there being no way for them to really break it. Yamroll not gonna be super close towards spawn. Will be able to at least invest that orbital strike to take care of the lockdown, but that's still gonna be one less ult that they have to worry about as they head into the site here.
Yeah, KitKat though looking for the spray value.
Oh, no.
Through the smoke, she's tagged down and has to back away and give that space. Neons though,
Placing swarm
keep
grenade.
away so
Swarm
far.
grenade
Yet
out.
again, main and angle they're gonna work with, but Bagel, is she prepared for this? Keeping tabs of it as much as possible. Fault line to play, flushing her out, and Coyote will get the kill. Yamro on the board as well. Yet again, Neon's preventing that spike from being planted. They have the advantage. It's up to
Spike down,
Snooki to dish the damage instead. She's already found one. Realizes main is held here by Neons. The spike is also out of their hands here. So difficult to navigate through. Perhaps the hero KDA thinking about going for the save
Watching
instead
this.
as time has effectively run on out.
10
KitKat though
seconds left.
prepared for the push. Snooki now looking for contact. Hannah on the board as well. And hero KDA trying to make this
player
work, but
standing.
they run out of time and they
Spike
also
down,
lose
B.
Hannah along the way. This round goes to Neons. Can they cap it off with a kill out to Snooki? Yes, they do.
That's so unfortunate. Almost making that 2v4 work out. Really, really good positions and fights being taken by the hero KDA players, but unfortunately just no time. And again, we talked about how aggressive Neons are playing on this defensive side. Exactly how you'd like to play Fracture in an ideal situation. And more often than not, they're finding just incredible values towards the timing of these flanks. In particular, getting that spike dropped down like that in the open is huge. And the only the good thing for the side of Hero KDA is that even if they can't afford this to buy this particular round, they baited most of those dangerous ultimates out in that previous one. They got that orbital strike out of the way, no more showstopper available for Coyote either, so that's one less thing they have to worry about.
Yeah, the silver lining, sure, but it's not the right shade here for Bagel as KitKat with the overrun. Neons, they've done so well in playing aggressive. We've seen so many times main taken away from the offense. And while the spike is planted, advantage in the hands of Neons. It's a 5v4. 3 ultimates though that Hero KDA has to work with. Snooki in the commit position. She's ready now to find that contact. Already tagged on down. Yoki no fear. And immediately Neons just mop away the competition. No chance for the Hero KDA. Neons retakes this lead.
Hero KDA, Hero Rifles, unfortunately not going to be able to find too much value. And like you mentioned, they didn't invest much in it. They at least get the spike plant down, so a little bit of extra money. But aside from that, that's a round that Neon didn't even seem to break a sweat in as they won it. Now going to be a timeout called by the hero KDA as they sense the momentum slowly but surely slipping out of their hands. They have 5 ultimates to work with. They have a buy coming in, and they need to figure out what exactly they're doing with all of these things they possess.
I mean, it's being so competitive so far. This time, Neons has found the answer and prevented the snowball from happening in this map. I do wonder, though, for Hero KDA, how do they keep tabs more so on the main angles? They've lost their spawn control so easily multiple times. That flank from Neon's always such a problem, and it just feels like for the Hero KDA, they're giving it up a little too easily, and Neons is the one providing that pressure instead to give them the advantage.
Definitely do have that heading in right now, but unfortunately, I think that for Neons, at least in this particular round, ultimate-wise, they are looking to be lagging behind. They have the Rolling Thunder on Yoki, but the Hero KDA, aside from that, they seem to have just so much to work with over the course of this particular one. The goal for Neons is, if not to outright win the round, at least get these pesky ultimates out of the way so that they can continue their reign of terror as they've been doing. I think, in particular, what I'm really happy about with from the side of Neons is that they're much more dynamic around the map. They're very quick to rotate, very quick to get information off the back of that aggression, and their decision making has gotten so much better since that first open. In fact, look at this push now.
They're gonna go for it. The Hero KDA, they stacked up well, but it just wasn't enough. Coyote actually getting that kill, and it's Hannah who falls first and foremost. Rolling Thunder, they're gonna be heard, and Yoki will use it to push it again to get spawn away from Hero KDA, but Snowkey with the overrun. KitKat will fall, and eventually it's just a whole chase. We're gonna get across the map. Neons, though, they have an inkling of what's going on. They realize, wait a minute, they might not actually go A. Instead, it's a pivot towards B. Hero KDA cutting through the attacker spawn, the defending spawn rather. And Felcha now, she might be that first contact. Snowkey, though, getting ready. We get the lockdown into play from the Hero KDA, and how the tides have turned. It's Neons who have to retreat.
Yeah, kind of like a nice, cute little Defender cosplay coming out of the side of the Hero KDA as they take the side. Killjoy ult invested as well to buy a little bit more time here. Now, all of Neons, they look to swarm in from this main area, have some utility to work with, but the close-plan positioning, they're not giving them any peak stacks.
Yeah, is this a preview of the second half already? As Neons instead will have to invade from whence they came from. We get the orbital strike though. Hero KDA, solid stall so far. Yoki though finding Bagel. Here comes Snowkey, and Snowkey, she gets one, but Yoki immediately with the answer. Coyote already going for the defuse, needs to be protected by the rest of the team. Time though running on that, it's gonna be close, but this time around, Neons can't get it done. The Hero KDA, barely time to break a sweat and barely time to get that win.
For a second, I thought it was going to be a repeat of those couple of rounds where we see Neon just stick the spike. It's happened once on every map so far, so the third one, it might be the third time lucky, but this time the timer, it doesn't work out for them. The Hero KDA, they walk away with the round after investing both that orbital strike and the lockdown. Really well done by them to be able to take it pushing through. That said though, that round was chaos from start to finish. It just went through every single part. The attackers went through the defender spawn, the defenders went through the attacker spawn.
If you already decide to pass go, not just once but twice, you know something is funky. But the Nightfall as well gonna be into play. The Rolling Thunder's there, and Coyote absolutely stuck into the corner. Felcha though gets the kill, leads now to her own Nightfall, and in that silence, she's the loudest voice to actually get these kills. 3 already here for Felcha. Iceling though answers back and will evacuate in time, but it's 2v3, and surprise, surprise, Bagel's ready. Let her bake. She's just in the corner, and she's ready to find those kills. It's 2v1 though. KitKat all alone now. Or perhaps she might be able to get the find onto Iceling. The cover though, and Bagel will fall. Quick little tap. A little fake, but KitKat is the secret ingredient to success. Neons with a clutch.
They're going to be taking a little bit of a break after that one. I'm very happy with Food to be able to clutch it out like that. Incredible patience coming in. And what I was thinking about was that, okay, it's a 1v2. She could get the lockdown after a kill. Could take a retake after that. But nope, she just goes for the gunfights and she wins them out in quick accord. I also like how neither team was willing to back down in that fight for spawn. Nightfall for Nightfall, Aftershock being thrown in. I think the kind of the place where it changed completely was Hannah pushing out of the smoke. She tried to get a little bit more damage, but unfortunately, Neons were just a little bit too ready for it. That kind of swung the numbers away from the Hero KDA's favor.
So Keon for the past 2 rounds, and KitKat feeling it from the previous encounter. Felcher also, same case. Absolutely stunning approach there from Neons. And quickly, blink and you'll miss it. It will be Neons moving on to the next round.
6-4, Neon slowly but surely extending their lead. And the thing is that the last time these two teams played on this map, it was kind of similar in a way. The first half was very neck and neck, but when that side switch happened, when Neons went over to the other side, they found it just a little bit more difficult to really deal with, it feels like. But they've been able to put up a good show so far, and I think that when that side switch happens, that's going to be the real test. Can the Hero KDA really continue their winning ways on this particular map? Because this is a map where they also have a considerable amount more experience playing. That said, though, Neons, if you do look at the kind of adaptations that they've been able to put in place, not just from yesterday, but over the course of today as well, they have been very, very flexible in their game style.
I mean, they can handle everything and anything that Hero KDA has thrown their way. You have players like Felchin just stepping up immensely. KitKat as well. Yoki go towards tower, and Bagel is caught immediately out in the open. So immediately, you already get the advantage here for Neon. Make that 2, make that 3 overall. Coyote with 3 kills to her name. She's just looking to be the Apex Predator right now. Howling with damage and finding even one more with the frag grenade there. A stellar pain shows to make that picture work for Neons. It's 7-4 here.
Flawless.
Slowly but surely, kind of building up the domination in this half here. A flawless round to boot. That's gonna sting for the Hero Kitty, especially since they did invest quite heavily into that particular round. It wasn't a half buy or whatever. They put almost everything they had into this particular one. So to lose it like that, it's gonna be a bit devastating. That loser bonus, though, still gonna be kicking in, allowing them to buy rifles, although the armor situation is less than ideal. Hannah, in fact, gonna be forced to play with no armor at all. And a little bit of compromise coming through in that utility area as well for Snowkey. A bit unfortunate, but for Neons at least, everything seems to be going extremely well for them. Felja opting for a judge in the middle, but switches back to the rifle, thankfully. I think that this is one of those maps as well where towards that towers angle in particular, that judge is just such an annoying weapon to deal with.
Well, the thing is, they're trying to avoid that so far, and instead, it's a close encounter of the dish kind. The fault line already looking to set things up well for the Hero KDA. And it's Alulu who finds the 2 anyway. The knockdown looking strong, and now the Hero KDA putting their foot down onto the site. Icing with the plan coming this way. Sourdough being taken as well as Sands. So perhaps Yoki and Yamroll, they can do something from the doorway. Looking at least to go for the aftershock. Snowkey expecting this. The pop flash now to go for the push. Hannah and Snowkey, they don't care. They're so prepared anyway. And the Hero KDA, this is where they thrive. Yet again finding the sharp shots, and yet again finding a round. 7-5 to end the first half. At least a recovery there from the Hero KDA. Let's hear what the panel has to say after all of that.
Oh, it's looking quite neck and neck here, Black and Blue. I have to say though, you know, for the side of Neons, the way the you know, they have that little bit of a lead, right? But I think it's because, like, you know, there are some rounds wherein they're not afraid to actually, like, you know, be aggressively defensive, and that's when they catch the Hero KDA off guard. But you know, the Hero KDA, the fight's not out of them yet. This is a really, really close map.
Yeah, I mean, I think Neons here have done a pretty good job, all things considered. You look at them playing on the defensive side, especially the less favored side. They get 7 rounds, almost an 8th. If things didn't go awry there on the retake for that final round, then they're already in a pretty good spot. But at the very least, if you're a Hero KDA fan, a lot of times we see these teams who kind of struggle in the first half, no matter if it's the favorite side or not. If they get the final round of the first half, they're a lot of times able to continue that momentum into the second. So if they take a pistol here, that's a tied game up, and then who knows how things might go when we swap things on over. So for the Hero KDA, I think that kind of sort of small moment of life that we've seen from them near the end of the half, that is what we have to see a spark in them for.
Yeah, I think, well, we're going to see which spark is going to burn brighter, so to say. Is it going to be the one of Hero KDA, or is it going to be Neons to close out this series? So casters, back to you guys.
Breaks over. Let's see who will bring in the bright lights. Zach, the rounds have been chaotic. The rounds have been absolutely about contact. But in the end, we're in a 7-5 standing. What can Hero KDA do to go for this pistol win, perhaps for a recovery? Or on the other hand, will Neons be able to suddenly just run away with this?
I think that Neons, they're definitely looking better than the last time that they played the Hero KDA on this very map. A better starting scoreline on the side that they proved to be weak on. And we talked about momentum quite a bit over the course of this matchup. The last time around, the Hero KDA had an almost flawless second half. So Neons, in the cases where they've been able to block out that momentum, deny it completely, they've been able to excel. Case on Haven, as well as in the first half on this map so far, despite a little bit of recovery coming in from the Hero KDA Neons, they still look to be in control. And that continues as they just walk, in fact, run onto the site.
Well, we've seen before that the Hero KDA, all they need is a single round to bring back their confidence. And here they come, but Neons, they're just so prepared anyway. Yamrel and Yoki, so stellar start. It's immediately the 1-2 punch from the Hero KDA in response. 3v2 though, already the tap there from Bagel. Felcher though keeping tabs of the objective. And with all left to Olulu, she does find the first, but not that second in the end. 3 for her, sure, but KitKat gets the one that matters. And Neons will take the first round of the second half.
For a second, I thought that all that Olulu had to do was hit a headshot there, but then I realized that even though KitKat, you know, might be in that battle, she also has that half armor, so even a headshot wouldn't have saved Olulu, unfortunately. The 2v1, too much for her to deal with, and that will be the pistol taken by Neons, steadily increasing their lead here. We'll be able to invest quite heavily in this anti-eco as well, and Dax, we saw this on Haven. Neons, they were able to run away in that second half. We might be seeing a repeat of it if they have their way.
I mean, we've seen them also set the pace. This speed from Neons has just brought the Hero KDA absolutely in a loop. Even though the Hero KDA can net those kills and find ways to keep up with Neons, it just hasn't led to the round wins themselves. Hannah, though, yet again, sharpest shot of the server doesn't disappoint. There you go, case in point. 2 already here from Hannah. The Hero KDA giving themselves a lifeline so far. Yamrol, though, does fight back with Aisling with another answer. It's all left out here to Belche. The seize is perfect, and the spot from Snowkey gets the round. What a win from the Hero KDA on the eco.
Excuse me, Hannah, why does my classic not do that and yours does? I guess she's just built different. But anyway, beautiful round to shut down that tower defense, finding the timing around the boombot to find those 2 kills with just a classic and a quick flank as well. The Hero KDA says, if you can do it, we can do it too, and they absolutely do. Find the round, a round that they had no business winning with 5 classics, but hey, off the back of that, their economy is going to be revitalized, and Neons, suddenly, they are looking at a possible equalizer coming in pretty soon.
All I gotta say, Zach, sometimes the free gun in the hands of an incredible player looks like any rifle anyone else can bring out. What a show of force there from the Hero KDA. But Neons, of course, they won't let that get to them. They are on eco, though, because of what happened in the last round. And it's Aisling now.
Smoke's down.
They set up the smokes. You have Yamro just keeping tabs of any potential flank. It's a different creed, though, for Hero KDA. They're using their spawn to allow them to reinforce towards the site itself. Trying to play anchor over at Sands. Bagel here, staying in cover as much as possible. But while this happens, Neon's actually pivoting away to move towards B because Yambrol hasn't found contact as of yet.
Very quiet.
Still waiting.
At the time, basically having ticked down, the Haunt's not gonna quite catch anybody, and Neon very slowly but really making their way over to the site. The problem is that there's still gonna be heavy presence coming out of Neon. Like when they're up right close, no goes for the white team, the kill as well, and it's just gonna be 1 kill in straight as Belcher takes one with the sheriff.
Hero KDA, they're prepared for this. Yet again,
Oh
Winter
my.
is coming, and there's just no way at all
30 seconds
that
left.
the Neon squad can handle this pressure. Temperatures falling. Yamrol, it might just be the spot and the sleep. Oh, Lulu will get that kill, and well, the Hero KDA, they're bringing it back here, Zach.
Yeah, that round was just Snowkey sending everybody else into hibernation. Like, bye-bye, see you next round kind of plays coming out. But 8-7 now. Both teams going to be having rifles to face off against on equal footing. And a couple of ults charging up as well. KitKat one off of that lockdown, which could prove to be a series changer. Snowkey also, though, only 2 from a showstopper. And Olulu 1 away from the Rolling Thunder. So we might see this Nightfall or Rolling Thunder come in very early. We've seen the kind of aggression that both of these teams teams like to show, whether they're attacking or defending. And again, it's just going to be the quick call for an execute this time around towards A.
Yeah, the dish now being taken here by Neons. A different approach so far. But the alarm bot will
Arcade.
send the bells. The arcade's taken here by Hero KDA. And this is as active can get. I don't know if I'm watching Valorant or Motorsports here, Zach. It's a race right now through a circuit. And eventually, it will be a clash towards the Emerald. And traded immediately by Hannah in spot. So 4v4 for the time being. Coyote with a good find though. And Neon's trying to clear out any angle that the Hero KDA wants to work with. Tower though still held. And we also have here the drop position for Hannah and Snooki. Dangerous though because of the paint shell. Spike's gonna get planted. Prowler gonna be into play. But as Aisling now looking to set things up, this Molly will pretty much burn down Yoki, flush her out. Felcher though has no fear. Already take out along the way. She finds two already from the top side. And there's the swing. Aisling just trying to find any kind of contact she can work with. But all alone, absolutely in trouble. Neon's just waiting for someone to come their way. Isolates Yoki, but Felcher doesn't disappoint from the high ground. It's the best stage for her. 9-7 for Neons.
Just the quickness of these pushes, of the flanks, it's just so much to deal with. But Neon's deal with that with perfection. They realize, they get the information that there's a triple flank coming in. They get a trade and a kill, and they immediately push towards Sands instead to find some value. With Coyote being able to find that kill, the pressure kind of alleviates for them, and they set up for an almost flawless post plant. Really, really good at just trading out each other. And for the Hero KDA, last round their spacing just wasn't good enough to have exactly the same result. Now kind of the economy on their last legs here, they're going to be investing as much as they can. They really don't want to let Neons get any more rounds than they already have on the board. And with that showstopper having been garnered thanks to Snooki picking it up, they're going to have the ults to work with to try and convert it, but the pressure is on. It's do or die for them here at this point almost.
They can force the issue right, and their economy, it's pretty much middling so far. As of now though, Hero KDA, they've set up the anchors for Bagel towards A. The rest of the roster moving towards B instead. And this might be a good read because Arcade is where the spike is headed. The Prowler though looking for intel. Hannah getting ready yet again. And over towards the underpass. Two trying to go for the set. Coyote though wants to go for the clear. But while we see the Nightfall, it's the Hero KDA who takes matters into their own hands. Orbital Strike though to go for the cut. We get the Rolling Thunder into play as well. As Coyote still setting up onto the site. The Hero KDA wrapping around yet again. It's a different team in the same spot here, Zach. Someone else using the tunnel system. But Bagel finding Yoki, Aisling on the board as well. And Hero KDA, they've set it up and they knock it down well. Spike isn't even planted. And the next victim here will be Felcher. All of the Yamroll in the 1v4 already being pressured by the spray. Spotted through the smoke here. And as it dissipates, the chances of the Hero KDA going to the wayside yet again. Neons is just going for more, or rather the Hero KDA going for a solid hold. It's Neons who can't find any kind of footing this time around.
Just forced to save. Yamroll will hold on to the rifle. And around her, the rest of the team should be able to buy up as well. But despite the investment of that Nightfall, of that Orbital Strike, the Hero KDA, they still walk away with the round. Sure, they spent a couple of ults of their own and made it expensive. But nevertheless, a win is a win, and that is a very convincing one for the side of the Hero KDA. Now the timeout coming in from the opposite side. Neons feeling the gap narrow, feeling the pressure coming back on. Will try to figure out how exactly they can close it out, because now the tables have turned. The economy, it's going to be a little bit dicey for them, and with two ults already on board and Coyote only one off that showstopper, they have a chance of being that first team to hit those double digits very closely.
Look, aggression is looking to be the answer. Look at what the Hero KDA did in that round. They just push, they go for finding anyone lagging behind from Neons, and there was that moment where Neons had the sights but couldn't actually finish off the job and put that spike down just because the Hero KDA answer back with their own kind of rotation. It's been a problem so far for both of these teams, and it's been neck and neck as a result.
9-8, neck and neck indeed, but Neons, they have a chance to extend their lead even further. They're a little bit ahead in the ultimate stakes. The only problem is that the economy is less than ideal. You can see them considering whether they want to force up completely or just go in for the half buy, and the consensus seems to be towards the half buy. Felcha and Yamro are going to be the only players with really workable rifles here. Coyote, of course, does have that stinger, could be useful, and already the hero KDA, they are pushing fast and aggressive.
Pinch is possible, and Neons cannot stop whatsoever because here comes trouble from the back line. Spawn being taken by 3 already. Snowkey looking to go for the boom bot as well, and into the smoke she will go. No fear, that's the way here for the hero KDA. Can you feel the rush now as the hero KDA tie things up?
The round was like 20 seconds from start to finish, and it was just a crunch on the site. The jaw snapped shut, and Neon, they finally lose their lead. That was an eco round for them, though. They're going to be able to buy up, and this round, it might honestly decide who ends up winning the game, because right at this juncture, at least, both teams, they're pretty close when it comes down to those ultimates. Like, yes, Neons, they have 3 ready to go, and the hero KDA, there's still a couple off of theirs, but with the way the kills are swinging, Iceling and Strawberry Bagel might very well have theirs online as well over the course of the round. The main differentiator here is economy. The hero KDA just have a little bit more to work with after their win streak over the last couple of rounds, and Neons, they got to win this one.
It's just such a wild game. Honestly, after all of this, Zap, I'm feeling very claustrophobic when I look at the minimap and I see 2 sets looking to converge as one. You know there's trouble for anyone caught in the middle. In the end, though, Neons, they are gonna begin this round now by putting a bit of pressure towards Dish, using the rappel to move across instead. So a bit of mind games perhaps to pull away the hero KDA rotation.
Yeah, but the hero KDA, they're not moving at all. Sure, they heard a little bit of noise towards that drop area, but aside from that, they're just happy to hold down the fort. Now, though, that's going to be the Q given away. A smoke comes down, the lockdown invested, and Neons, they look to push the issue on this A side, and while the lockdown will buy them some space stacks, there's still so much utility.
Yeah, there's still that setup from the Killjoy. Coyote, though, with a good clear so far. Problem is, though, struggles for Yoki to actually find anywhere to put that spike down, and instead, it's going to be closer here towards the main angle instead. So perhaps Hero KDA, they can go for the push towards holes and use that as their anchor point. Bagel already with gun. It's again trade for trade, but Coyote gets the impact, and Felcher also finds her targets. From that point on, that's the hero that Neons needs. 10-9 as Neons keep the lead.
They take it through very convincingly, and we talked about those ultimates, the impact that they could have. Unfortunately, before the hero KDA could get theirs online or even invest them, they were just forced to take those head-to-head fights, and despite being stunned, Neons towards that A main area, they were able to do quite a bit of damage and come out on top in those fights. Felcher, in fact, having the most impact on the server by far. 24 kills already on the Fade, and once again, just 2 away from that Nightfall for the hero KDA, though they're finally going to have enough money to get that operator online. This has to be huge.
I mean, these rounds have been absolutely scrappy, to say the least. Have all been about that contact, especially coming into the post plant. Perhaps now, though, hero KDA looking to dictate that pace with the operator. They're holding now towards spawn, especially. You also have the holes being contested. Felche, very dangerous for her to peek against 2. Doesn't have the intel because of the smoke. And Neons, for once, actually second guessing and trying to figure out a good way towards the site here.
They might even expect that operator because of how the economy has shaped up here. So I think they're just waiting either for that or for a push coming out of the hero KDA, and Snowkey already being that first one to bite. Felcha in the corner, holds the angle, gets that first kill, looking for a little bit more, and the counter will eat most of the damage. Nevertheless, though, Lulu gets the kill.
And here comes Bagel! She's just holding, she's just ready, but Coyote does get the drop of her from the other side. Still, Neons, it's a struggle here.
30 seconds
2v3,
left.
They have at least a spike onto the site itself. Bolt line now into play as well. Perhaps a chance to go for the push, but Kid Cat also doing the same. Coyote also getting on the board. All left now to Hannah. Difficulty here to try and find the angle. The paint shells keeping her at bay. A 2v1 now. Neons here with the advantage. They have multiple angles to work with, and Hannah deciding perhaps it might be time to go for a different approach. There was a moment where she could have thought to go for the save, but instead, the push towards Canteen. KitKat, though, on the other side of this wall, perhaps trying to find anyone peeking from tower. The jump peek is there. Coyote gets the intel. Shot rings, but it isn't going to be enough to find the kill. And KitKat has no fear. She wants to go for this kill against the op, but no dice. Hannah denies her. At least, though, it will be still the op save for the hero KDA, but the consolation to the round taken by NEONS.
Small consolation at that, because now Neon's they're only 2 away from finding revenge against the hero KDA and moving on in that upper bracket, bringing them incredibly close to just qualifying for Elite off the back of that. Really nice round to start off with, the Strawberry Bagel in particular being able to find those 2 kills, but despite that, Neons, they're able to bounce back, and that's going to be the timeout called here. The hero KDA economy going to be kind of on its last legs. They have the operator, also going to be able to buy up the rest of the squad. But that said, right, they have to win this round. Neons, they have the momentum back in their favor with those last couple of rounds. They have the Nightfall ready to go, and the way they're playing, the kind of quick, heavy hits that they're putting, it's just so much pain for the hero KDA. And with that operator coming in as well, they're a little bit slower on that take.
It just feels like also that the hero KDA just gets no reprieves whatsoever. Every single time we see them at least have a semblance of an anchor, right? A way to put a stop against NEONS. Suddenly, it's the other angle being taken, and that's the beauty of Fracture. If you're such an active team, you can actually take advantage of how you can play from both sides of the map. Players like Coyote have been able to take advantage of that. Felcher also having an impeccable game with 25 kills. A big reason to NEON's success, getting that Nightfall in a pinch. Now they're ready with it coming up to this round.
Yeah, the way that Neon uses this, it's really just to hunt and get them down. It's like a Cypher ult, but even more annoying to deal with. Felcher's just like, I know exactly where you are, sends her prowlers, goes behind them, and gets a couple of kills along with the rest of her team. Neons have been incredible at using this kind of utility to really scale up. Talking about scaling up, though. Oh no, Hannah misses the shot. That's huge there. That's a good opener.
Yeah, 1 out of 100 times that happens, and that was the one. Such a rare whiff there from Hannah. And in the end, punished appropriately by NEONS. A big chance now with the op gun. The Odin, though, still a bother, but it's on the other side of the map. And the tower take here. Oh, Lulu. She's gonna have to try and find more value from this position. Still, NEONS, they're not committing as of yet. Thinking perhaps where they can play from. Eventually, though, to commit the Nightfall, this will get the find onto Olulu. Prowler also looking for that target, just chasing after as much as possible. Doki, no, judge in hand. Backstep onto Coyote with the blast back even. The swing comes, and it's Iceling who gets the win there. A big chance here for the hero KDA. They're winning some big duels so far. The rotate comes from NEONS instead.
They just say, yeah, they hear the judge, they get that first kill, the trade comes in, and in this 3v4, they decide they want nothing to do with it. They know at least 3 players from the side of the hero KDA are playing there, so they just try to change things around, go for this B site instead. With enough time to get the spike down, they will be able to do so. But already this lockdown, it's gonna be in play. So close.
This is dangerous. KitKat is right there, and eventually she might be able to find Bagel. She's gonna break the lockdown first and foremost, but no, it's not even gonna get destroyed. You could see the objective for her, but it doesn't pan out, and in the end, it's the hero KDA who find their targets instead. Oh, unfortunate there for NEONS, but well done by KDA to keep their opponent at bay.
11 to 10, and just such a close round. I feel like KitKat could have completely changed the narrative of that round there if she'd been able to break that lockdown or at least find the spray damage, but just doesn't go in her favor. The smoke goes away at the worst time, and it's the turret of all things to find the kill. Another one in Timmy's Death Note to strike through, and we go on 11 to 10 here, incredibly close. And NEONS, despite being in the lead, their economy DAX is just gone.
I mean, she was pressured by the turret. As soon as he locked eyes with it, she was like, okay, I have to do something right now. Pressure, perhaps, might be a problem here to NEONS. Their economy not going to be the best right now, so they just go for the Marshall buys instead. We've seen how effective this has been, though, in the hands of Yamroll especially, and she doesn't disappoint. First kill coming her way. Hannah, though, back on the beat. and brings at least it back to a 4-4. Rotate though for Neon to try and go for that A side. Here comes the Odin, and Bagel is just good for it. Always ready to go for the shots. Yet again, the Odin. It's unbelievable how Bagel is so good at controlling this, but eventually she'll be found. 3v2 damage being done here by Neons at the very least, but they're on site, they're trapped here. No way for Yoki to use that Odin. Yamroll again, Marshall to the head, but she's already dead. That's a short. He has bridged that gap. 11-11, make a wish, fans, because you already see such a close game.
Our panel said it. This could go either way, and so far, at least, that seems to be the case. 11-11 indeed. Anybody could win it, especially with the economy going to be swinging back here for Neons. This round, it's going to be huge for them. They have to go huge here by themselves, and they might not have the ultimates quite yet, but only a couple off of that Rolling Thunder and that Showstopper. So if they can farm a couple of those up with Fracture having 4 orbs, it might be what they need to kind of close it out. Hero KDA, though, they don't need to do any of that waiting. They already have theirs ready to go, and they are looking to kind of capitalize off of it. Oh my god.
This is such a big round, and Snowkey, can she get the kill? Over onto the corner! Felcha still not even second! How is she still alive after everything is said and done? And in the end, it's Neons with the advantage, moving over, go towards the side. Coyote with a stellar clear, Bagel though with the answer. The Nano Swarm's helping her out as well. And the Hero KDA take a deep breath for them. They need to recover. The Odin though has been found. Bagel caught out in the open. A bit stale there on her approach, and it's all up to Alulu, who will force the hand here. The stun though, it won't be enough. Yoki's ready, and Neon's yet again. They stuff themselves into these corner sacks, and they somehow avoid some big ultimates there from Hero KDA.
Oh my, that is so unfortunate for Snowkey to be able to just walk past Felcha, almost taking her down, but the Showstopper goes completely to waste. And like you mentioned, 2 huge ultimates finding absolutely no value over the course of that round. Neon's now at match at series points. They have ultimates of their own. They have a revitalized economy. And for the Hero KDA, they have to win to take it to overtime, but their tools are just so lacking.
That's the problem, and the Hero KDA, usually in this scenario, after a round like that, you'd want to take a timeout to take a deep breath after everything is said and done. But they need to hold steadfast. Overtime, or the end of the series, Neon's just 1 away from getting their revenge against the Hero KDA. They're pretty much the only team that beat them in the Swiss stage. Felcha though, keeping tabs again of any kind of push. Neons this time around cutting noise and playing a bit different. They want to creep up towards the site and just catch out the Hero KDA. An early nightfall even to garner that intel. So Hannah at least exposing a bit of the elements. Only problem, be able to capitalize on it. Not getting ready as well as Neon already moving towards the site, and well, there's the lockdown too.
Spike drop.
So much being tossed in the direction of the Hero KDA here. Or interestingly enough, rotating over towards that A side, maybe going in for a quick flank, but Felcha, she's gotta be playing up close and personal, gotta be hearing all these sound cues, that first point of contact.
She's done it before. Can she do it yet again? There you go. Felcha gets 1. Kit Kat also on the board, but Iceling will still stand tall. It's 3v3 as Neons have made their way towards the site and put that spike down. Rolling Thunder keeping the Hero KDA at bay, and it's Hannah on the board. Coyote will fall. It's now perhaps a bit momentum here for Hero KDA, but Yoki waiting for the timing. Here comes the fault line, and here comes Yamroll as well. Iceling already getting halfway. She's all alone now in a 1v1. Zap yet again to try and bait out Yamroll, and Iceling gets it done! Angle isolation, make it Iceling's isolations. We go to overtime here.
Iceling almost single-handedly pushing it to overtime in that round.
Switching
4K,
sides.
the trades during that flank, it could have gone so badly. Felcha could have gotten more than that, just 1 kill, but it's gonna be the trades coming in for Iceling's side. She might have been on the bottom of that scoreboard, but that entire round, the reason why this is still going on is going to be entirely because of her. Has the presence of mind to get half the defuse as well while she can, and after that it's just easy pickings coming in for her to be able to get those 1v1s. Now 12-12 again, balance on the tip of the sword. It could be either team's game. This is just such a fire series, dogs.
What an unbelievable game for such drawn out series, that's for sure. We've gone to a decider. We're going to overtime. And you can see for both NEONS and the Hero KDA, they really want to make it to the upper bracket finals and just be one series away from qualifying to Elite. We're getting our top two here, ladies and gents, to move on to, of course, the biggest tournaments in the APAC Game Changers circuits. But for now, these faces making such big splashes in LCQ. NEONS versus the Hero KDA. And yet again, we get to scramble towards the sand. Snowkey, though, wins out the first fight. Over on the spawn, it's still the NEONS trying to play away from the smoke. No one on site now. It's Hero KDA actually taking full command of it. 5v4. Retake coming on in from the spawn instead. The Boombot having a bit of a problem, makes the noise, and it's Hannah instead who will get the find. Icing also still keeping it going, but Yamro just holds it down and sprays them there. 2v1 though, smokes at the ready. Orbital Strike is there too, and Bagel. This is such a struggle for Chris, and Yambro with an amazing ace! What have we just witnessed here from her? What a way to win for NEONS, just to get the advantage and to put themselves back on series points.
Look at that smile. Honestly, if I won a 1v3 like that, I would be smiling as well.
Match point.
Insane coming out of Yamroll there towards that final stretch of the round to be able to steal it away from the Hero KDA. Everything seems to be in their favor, but just a spray down here. 3 kills already, and the last 2 as well off the back of that Orbital Strike. A 1v5, in fact, basically coming in for Yamroll. And that will be a timeout called by NEONS here. They want to close it out. They don't want any more mistakes. They're just 1 round away. They can taste the victory here, Dax. And after that round from Yamroll, they deserve to close it out.
What did we just watch there, courtesy of Yamroll? What did we just see?
Yamroll, go kill.
Yamroll took all of them down. It was just from bad. Honestly, it was from good to bad to worse there from the Hero KDA. They already having such a great standoff against the tower take there by NEONS. They had Iceling doing such a good job from the door especially, but from Yamroll spraying to Bagel being forced out by the Orbital Strike, and still Yamroll winning that final fight. It's just unbelievable how NEONS can, on a dime, just turn their fate upside down and give themselves a chance.
It was a 1v5. I'm sure everybody watching would have been like, yeah, this round is over. The Hero KDA, they get it. And Yamroll's just like, nope, not today. Not happening. Not on my watch. It just absolutely decimates them to a man, or well, woman in this case. 13-12 though now. NEONS, they're looking to capitalize on the advantage. A very, very quick hit. It's been working out for them so far, but they're going right into the hands of the Odin.
Yeah, the Hero KDA, they cannot be swept up by that momentum. Yeah, recovery, a necessity. We saw it courtesy of Iceling last time around. Will we see the step up yet again from the defense? As NEONS go for the Prowler to just suss out what's going on towards Hulls. Moving now towards the sites to also go for the wall bangs versus the boxes, but it's a different play here for Hero KDA. They're waiting now on the objective. The rotation though pulled. Okay, so they do want to group up as much as possible, but there's a convoy here, Zach, as NEONS moving towards B instead.
They want that lockdown. So far, all they've done is try to get KitKat those couple of orbs. They want to be sure about this round, and they're only 1 away from it. So if they can pick up this B main orb, that's going to be a lockdown to set them up on the side for free. That's the strategy for this particular round. And the KJLs, especially being still on the O patch, is going to be much easier to get. Only 8 points instead of the new 9.
30 seconds left.
Oh, no.
And come on, if you do the math, 4 given when you spawn, 4 around the map here on Fracture, and now NEONS looking to make a safety net for themselves to make their way towards the side. Time running out, sure, but they will have the space anyway. Some beacon even used by the Hero KDA just to get out. NEONS now will get the plant going, and it will be the 5v5 retake. Keep an eye on Spellcheck. She's playing from Thunderpass, but immediately it's Coyote who goes for the close contact. Hannah, though, still wins. It's 4v2 as Alulu finds Yamroll. KitKat, though, on the board. Felchin now making her presence be known. Here comes the spike being defused. KitKat, though, finds the target, and NEONS will take the series. 14-12, winning in overtime. It's sweet revenge here for NEONS. And now, Zach, they're 1 series away from making it to Elite as they move into the upper bracket finals.
one more win and they will qualify. And this is a team that was signed this year. Sure, they have some experienced talents. They haven't made it to the playoffs of a single open yet, but this time around, Dax, they look to be in complete control of their destinies. I think, especially towards that last round, they were taking no risks. Orb farm, get the lockdown, get out to sight, play post plans, and they went out a 2v4 to close it out. That overtime was the most insane overtime we've seen over the course of this entire tournament. First the 1v5, and then a 2v4. If anyone deserves that win, it's gonna be Neons after all that chaos.
I mean, come on. I feel like in that last round, the hero KDA, they felt the pressure. And you mentioned it, just the collection there from Neons. That's my orb too. Oh, maybe another one. Orb, so good. It's just the fact that Neons understood the situation, and in the end, they have put in the work to beat a team that has beaten them before. What a way to win for Neons, and what a series we just witnessed. Let's toss it over to the panel to at least explain what went on, especially on that last map.
Go kill.
Well,
I guess that's exactly what happened, right? The Yamroll go. I have to say, it seems like we knew that this was gonna be really, really close. But we didn't realize just how close to be. We got into overtime. I mean, and we had that incredible ace from Yamroll as well.
I mean, it was a pretty crazy end, I think, the way that things went. Especially, like, you look at first, let's look at end regulation here, where maybe the hero KDA throws some wayward ults, maybe not in the best timing of using it, and then suddenly Azing comes to the 4K to bring it into overtime, and then we get into overtime, and the retake here, it was looking pretty good for the hero KDA, but then suddenly, at the nick of time, in the end of things, it's Neon who are still able to close things out, and the fact that they're always so capable of recovering has been a big thing.
Yeah, it's just so. It's so heart-wrenching for the hero KDA, right? Because it was so close. It was in their hands already. There were so many rounds where they did have that no advantage, but for some reason, you know, Neons just managed to get those optimal angles. They managed to out the hero KDA to those last moments, right? For the hero KDA, unfortunately, this means that they go down to the lower bracket. It doesn't mean that they're out, of course, but you know, this is definitely a blow to their morale, especially, you know, yeah, they were coming into this.
Yeah, but what a lovely story, really, for Neons, right? A team who has never made it this far, who has never even made it into qualifying into anything like this, right? In a top 8. And yet we see them one series away from making it to the grand final. One series away from qualifying into the elite. And that would just be such an over accomplishment of what their expectations were, really, coming into this tournament. That would be amazing if they're able to cap that all off with another consistent consecutive win here. They are looking really good, and as I said, they have won me over from the get-go from yesterday, because you can see there's a different fire burning under these Neons.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know, for the side of him, unfortunately, you know, as I mentioned, you know, there were so many rounds that could have gone in their favor, and there were so many small errors as well. I mean, like, how many times did Felchi get away from just sneaking around in one corner and then suddenly coming at the hero KDA, right? We saw that so many times, like that unfortunate showstopper that Snowkey never ever got to use just because Felchi was right behind her. And I think that these are the little mistakes. Maybe you could toss it on up to nerves, perhaps, you know, that second map really did them. But I think that, you know, Neons, it's just that, again, once you hand them that momentum, they will take it and they will just get the bullying and just in their favor. And I think that, you know, that second map was all they needed. That was their sign. That was their goal signal.
Yeah, ever since that second map, it really was a turn up for them. Actually, not even the second map. I'd say it was the second half of map number 1. You saw that in that second half of Pearl.
Yeah.
They could start to get themselves going, and then it just continued all the way to map number 2. Yes, they weren't able to win map number 1, but then the lead was just too big, too little, too late, insurmountable in those odds. But you can really see it coming to Haven, as you talked about, just full confidence under their wings. Map number 3 came so close, and by all means, the hero KDA could have taken this series in their favor, but at the end of the day, it comes down to those small, minute moments, and that's where Neon have shown to be comfortable for this series.
Shout out though to Strawberry Bagel, really sticking with the Odin play. You know, just because of her positioning, she's able to get the most out. Fortunately, it was not enough. Very memorable, but not enough. Felchi though was very memorable indeed. Just the way she's actually able to get, you know, she was actually like playing lurker a little bit on the side of NEONS, you know, when the situation, right? And it was just so effective on Fracture when they were ready to play those mind games. The quick rotations, where are they going? No, they're just grab over here, they're moving over to the other side. It just works so well on the side of NEONS. You kind of it all, they were having so much fun, right? Yeah, as I mentioned, girls barely even.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like at the end almost maybe some worries to be had, but you get the 2-1, you can't really complain. As long as you get the win, that is, I think, more than enough to come and end the day with happy. So we're going to be moving forward with a team that we never would have thought to be almost qualifying into Game Changers Elite. So Neon, what a success story. It would be a Cinderella story by all means here for them to qualify into Elite. And if they're able to win their next series, then who knows, we might just have a new contender in our hands.
Ooh, that is very interesting. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I love, you know, I love these miracle runs. I love these big runs that come out of VCT Game Changers. And if NEONS is one of them, hey, all for it. But we are not done just yet. Yes, NEONS may have taken the season just yet. We have one more series to
One enemy remaining.